Okay, so this is the link.
It should be.
Is it a new link, Willy?
Yeah. Can you just actually open it up to see if that's working?
Click the original Instagram if that opens up to.
Nah, it'll be a full new link. It's in the Facebook inbox.
No. Well, the one I clicked that's still there opens up to.
Is it us?
Are we moving?
You're moving, but it's the camera that's like looking at Willy's face, like under his face.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the old link.
That's the old one. The new link is in the Facebook inbox.
I'll get rid of that old link. It was a good view of you though, Willy.
Yeah, it's real nice, eh?
Sorry, guys. New link. You're forgiven. I accept your apology.
Oh,
Okay,
damn
yeah,
it.
Apollo.
Look at you both sitting there all smug.
It's because we're all full of nugs.
Yeah, we are.
Full of chicken nuggets, nice and plump.
Mate, I'm about like the plainest chicken nuggets you can get. I'm not about fancy nuggets.
Do you eat that all the time, regardless of chemo, or you just fucking whatever you feel like?
I would eat fast food the weeks that I have chemo. Like the weeks that I have it and I feel shitty, I'll have a burger at some point, I would say.
And you know what? Like, why not? Like, if you're feeling shit, I'm all about moderation, but unfortunately, my new diet probably going to be a bit more of the strict side. Hey, Willy, I just saw Cancer Collective put up your
Is that the pink one?
They just shared a photo of you, Willy. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. They posted it this morning, I think.
So, a funny story with Cancer Collective. They shared my story a while back. They shared Dahlia's story like a week or so ago, and the starter of Cancer Collective, pretty awesome girl. Her husband is Sean, who's the one who's had that like fucked up appendix cancer.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I did see that.
And they live in Brisbane, so I really want to get them both on the podcast because I reckon that'd be sweet. So she started this, connecting young adults impacted by cancer through her husband, who went through this he spent 54 days in hospital.
Jesus.
And had 4 post-op surgeries. 4 emergency surgeries and 54 days in hospital.
Fucking Christ.
54 days in I would go fucking
I'd go
bonkers.
crazy too. So
it's fucked.
Yeah. Just so you know, we are live on YouTube now, although we don't have anyone.
I'm gonna post it on I wrote.
Yeah, so then
put it on your Facebook?
Put the link, put the link from the
latest one.
The latest one, because somehow I may or may not have fucked it. But this happens. This happens live. Can't help it. Well, you can, but I don't know what I'm doing. So
for episode
it's going to be a semi-live Q&A, but we're also going to be recording a latest episode for our podcast. So
yeah, basically
combo.
Bit of a combo.
Is that the right cam?
No, I'm just got to delete this old video. Just so no one's like, what the fuck? How have you fucked this? So if anyone is listening, we are sorry, we will get into this properly, but Matt may be fucking around. That's he's the one with the purple hair with her feet up. That's Matt. Fucked it.
With the purple hair.
Yeah, that's it's not me. Don't joke about that. Righto, so we are live, and then we can get into this really any time, Hugo.
Cool. We'll get into the actual episode. We'll click record, Willy, on Zoom.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to pour out. We've got some. We do have some ice here and some Maker's Mark whiskey. So Dahlia has requested to have a smidgen.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what a smidgen is, but I'm going to try and do this the best I can. This is going to be yours, Dahlia.
All right.
Is that a smidgen?
That's a good smidge.
That's like a full smidgen.
Yeah. That wasn't, yeah.
So we're probably going to run out of whiskey by the end of this, but who cares? We can get into it.
I'm sure we'll be all right.
Right. So Mr. Hugo, we've got you back up.
Sorry.
We've got you back up.
Oh, awesome. All right. Well,
sweet.
Where can I find you?
Dahlia?
Yeah.
For the actual podcast, would you like to I'm about to click record.
All right.
So recording. 3, 2, 1. Click record now.
So welcome everybody to the 25 Stay Alive podcast. We're here recording episode 8. I've hijacked the intro and the show today. I'm Dahlia. I don't know if you remember me from episode 3, but nice to have you boys on your own show. Welcome.
Oh, it's lovely to be part of it. I'm calling it your show now, Dahlia. So So it's fantastic. And Hugo, you there, mate?
Yeah, I am. It's good to have you, Dahlia. It's good to see you sitting in Willy's big red chair. And it's obviously for those listening, Dahlia did share her inspirational story in episode 3. And we thought it was she's so bloody awesome. We wanted to get her back. So she's probably going to be featuring in a few episodes coming up. So hopefully, make her feel welcome.
Thanks, everyone.
Be only fair. So to paint an image, if you're listening to this and not viewing it online, me and Dahlia may be sitting here with some 30 nuggets from Macca's. That's a health food. It's got a 5-star rating, and also a bottle of bourbon with just a smidgen. So
Just a smidge.
before we get too far into this, we'll do a cheers, and then we'll get on with the episode.
Toast some water, Hugo.
Yeah, I'm toasting some water in the the laptop.
Beauty.
Yeah, beauty.
So look, today's episode is more of a relaxed feel. Willy and I did do a bit of a Q&A episode a few episodes back. So we thought we'll do more or less another Q&A episode with Dahlia, obviously featuring this too. So we'll go through a few of your questions that you've sent in. Likewise, if you're watching a live stream on YouTube, feel free to post any questions there as well. But before we get into some questions and answer some of your questions, we just thought we'd go around. The three of us are obviously very much Dahlia and Willy are very much into their chemo still. And I had a colonoscopy yesterday in regards to a bit of a health update. So we're going to go around the table. I'll lead off just with a bit of a health update on all three of us in our current situation. So for me, I had a colonoscopy yesterday, which was it's a 6-month post, I guess, cancer diagnosis colonoscopy. So it's colonoscopy itself, for those listening, is pretty straightforward. There's obviously a bit of that bowel prep involved, which is never too much fun, which Dahlia obviously knows all too well.
I'm lucky.
But look, it is a good thing to do, because I'm a pretty strong advocate for colonoscopies, because it is the one real way to know exactly what's going on in your gut. But it is a bit of an anxious moment for me personally, knowing that last time I had a colonoscopy, I pretty much got told I had colon cancer. So this one, I was going into it hoping for the best. And I suppose the results from it, the initial results, showed that there's no real polyps or any cancer, which is fantastic. That's obviously the main goal and the main positive from it. However, I still do have some active chronic inflammation in my colon, which is kind of what led to me getting colon cancer in the first place. So unfortunately, that puts me at, and I quote from my gastroenterologist, significant risk of getting colon cancer again. And he even said it's probably more of a matter of when you get it again, not if I don't treat this inflammation. So it is pretty serious to treat this inflammation in my colon. So basically, I've had bowel disease for most of my life, and the current medication in treating it. So I suppose where to from there, it basically means I've got to drastically change my diet, which is what I'm currently going to really do, and try everything I can, I suppose, not to get this cancer again. So I'm going to go down the whole plant-based vegan approach just for a while, and there's lots of fors and against, I understand, for those listening. Some of you might be vegan, some of you might be opposed to vegan diets, but in my current position, when the risk of a third cancer, I suppose, coming up, I put myself in that position of going, well, I'm going to try everything I can to get rid of that inflammation. So that's kind of where I'm at health-wise as far as diet. And it's also strongly recommended I commence a new treatment or medication option, which is a biologic suppressant, which is relatively new in the scheme of things. It basically means every 8 weeks I get intravenously, injected the drugs into me, 8 weeks for a year, every 8 weeks for a year. It's quite an expensive drug, but it's meant to target the inflammation in my gut, specific to my colon, specific to my ulcerative colitis. So that's kind of the recommendation I've got. And for those listening, you probably think, well, that's a no-brainer. Why don't you do that? But unfortunately, this is the double-edged sword that comes into it. Because it's a relatively new drug, there have been studies to suggest it does increase your risk of getting cancer, such as lymphoma, down the track. So
that's what you want. That's always good.
So on one hand, I've got the doctor telling me that if I don't have treatment or get rid of this inflammation, I'll some stage very significant high risk of getting colon cancer again. But if I do go on this treatment, I also have an increased risk of getting another form of cancer again. So as you can imagine, I'm kind of sitting here with a bit of a dilemma on my hands, but it's a bit unfortunate. However, I think that the path that I think I'm going to take is drastically improving my diet and lifestyle, which for me is a no-brainer in my current situation, and also going on this medication or this treatment for probably 12 months and reassess from there. So that's kind of a bit of a health update for me, for those listening, and for Willy and Dahlia as well. But yeah, that's currently where I'm at.
I have some questions here. How much of your bowel do you have left, of your large bowel?
So of my large bowel, so I guess those listening, take yourself back to school days, and if you can picture what a colon looks like or a large bowel, it's kind of that, like, I guess, U-shaped sausage in a way, or sorry, more of an upside down U. So what would you call that? A bloody, I don't know, a
backward C.
Either way,
averages are way
I
off.
was never good at biology at school.
Welcome to my life.
So I've got the way I got told, about 10% left of that. So he basically removed a big chunk of it where all the inflammation was and where the cancer was in that part of my large bowel, the colon. He left about 10%.
I have another question. Which half?
So I've kept my part of my left side of my colon.
Right. And you've made the
right,
decision.
God damn it, Dahlia.
Listen.
Switch on. He said we can see him on the camera.
Also, have you definitely decided to do this 8-week program or 12-month?
Yeah, the medication. Look, I think I have a few people are against it because of the potential risk, but it's kind of risk versus reward for me. And Willy and I spoke offline about that. Sometimes the unknowns can often be the worst part of these things. And I think, to me, if I didn't have an option and I just trusted diet and lifestyle alone, and there are plenty of people out there who have, cured inflammations and cured diseases through diet alone, and I'm definitely going to take that seriously, absolutely. But if in 12 months' time I had a colonoscopy which showed that, inflammation's still there, there's also a sign of a polyp, it looks cancerous, we're going to have to take the rest of your bowel out, I feel like I'd really regret not actually doing the treatment option. For me, I think it's a no-brainer, but not long-term. So I think I'm going to do a combination of diet, lifestyle, and this what's called biologic medical treatment option, a biologic drug, for probably 12 months and then reassess.
I have one more question.
Yes, Dahlia.
All the inflammation that is happening in your gut, is that all in your large bowel, or is some of it in your small bowel as well?
So the inflammation I have is all currently in my large bowel. So that's what's called ulcerative colitis, which is a type of bowel disease. You might hear of people with Crohn's disease.
Yes.
And people with Crohn's disease have inflammation in their small bowel. So Crohn's disease is associated with your small bowel when there's inflammation, and ulcerative colitis is another type of bowel disease, and that's in the large bowel, which is where my current concern is. And
then that might lead to long-term you joining the bag gang.
Well, yeah, that's exactly the truth. If I don't treat this inflammation, like I said, there is a significant risk that I will get at some stage in my life another colon cancer, which, yes, will result in me having that part of my bowel removed, and I'll be joining the bag gang, as you put it.
Well, you can't do that, because then you'll be leaving me out, and I'll be like, oh, fuck.
You can borrow some bags.
Yeah, I'll just stick
them on.
Yeah, guys, I'm cool as fuck.
We'll make you a little fake stoma.
Because Dahlia, did you ever have inflammation in your part of your bowel?
No, nothing.
No tang.
Nothing.
And how much of your bowel did you have removed?
30 centimeters taken out.
Jesus.
Fortunately for me, the location of my tumor meant that I could just have that removed, and I didn't have to have any radiotherapy for shrinking my tumor, because the closer that your tumor is to your rectum, the more difficult it is to remove, because there's less blood vessels, and the chances of leakage of like the new. So obviously they chop out the 30 centimeters, they kind of detach the rest of your bowel, wiggle it all down, and then reattach it. And so the lower that I want to say seam.
These are actually the technical terms.
Yes.
If any surgeon students are watching, take notes.
Yes, absolutely.
The seam. The seam of my bowel in my rectum.
Join. In my rectum.
And on that, Dahlia, I've given a bit of an update on my health, but let's kind of go around the table. And how is your current health situation going, Dahlia?
Pretty good. I think the part of my health that is benefiting the most is my mental health. I've never sort of felt this way in my life, so it's taken me 27 years and a bit of cancer to get here, but I'm here now, so that's going really well for me. So I'm really sort of quite proud of myself for getting to this point. Physically, specifically to right now, I'm feeling quite bad. I had my infusion on Wednesday, and I just came straight from the hospital to here after having my bottle removed. From the last episode, you can see me holding my bottle. So today was bottle removal day. Usually I wouldn't have the fatigue and lethargy until tomorrow, but I woke up today and I had it. So I just listened to my body, had some breakfast, took a nap. And then when Willy sort of mentioned coming over here today, I absolutely just wanted to jump up and get out of bed and do something with my day. So typically today I'm not doing the best. I had to, on Thursdays, I have to give myself an immunity booster, which is an injection that increases my white blood cells because maybe I was going to say as people know, but they probably don't know.
As you all know.
Yeah, your immunity goes down quite significantly while you're going through chemo. So your white blood can be affected by that. So this particular injection helps counteract that problem. However, the side effect of it is that all of the bone marrow inside your bones swells up to produce this.
Jesus.
Yeah, to produce the white blood cells, and then I just get sore bones.
Delicious. That's what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bones are swollen.
Yep, in my face.
A solid structure in my face has swollen from the drug I'm taking to stop me getting sick.
It's pretty fun.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and so I just get a bit of joint pain and pain in my bones, but that sort of heads off by Sunday, and then maybe by Monday, Tuesday.
And Dahlia, on that, so that's you've just currently you're going through your 8th round of
correct
chemo, and you've got 4 rounds to go for a total of 12 rounds.
Yes, yep.
And for those who didn't see on Dahlia's Instagram, she does do her famous chemo themo, and for her 8th round of chemo, she dressed up as a emo chemo. Chemo emo.
My chemo phase. Or I was thinking emotherapy. Or my chemical romance. It was, yeah.
My chemical romance. That's actually better. Yeah. But a lot of people might not get it. But that's
but for those who do, it's worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it.
But yeah, so it's actually been really good. The chemo themo has been me and Willy were talking about it offline, because for me, I kind of look forward to that day because I've got my outfit sorted. Everyone really wants to know what I've dressed up as. And so for me, going in on that day, I've sort of turned it into a positive. I've made it something that I can look forward to and that others look forward to as well.
I look forward to it. I'm not even in the hospital. I'm like, I hope Dahlia does more chemo so I can see more funny dress-ups. Like the emo was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. I lost it.
I was messaging Dahlia the other day. Oh, what are you doing for tomorrow? And she's, you have to wait and find out.
Yeah, no joke. No one's getting in.
Yeah, no secrets here.
And Dahlia, do you feel worse as it's now obviously your 8th round of chemo? Willy and I have touched on this before. It seems, and back in the day when I had chemo, it seems that the more rounds you do, it's harder on your body to recover. Do you feel that's the case for you, or do you feel it's about the same?
No, it's absolutely compiling. It's definitely getting worse. I guess I try really hard, and this was some advice from my oncologist, was to not be tracking every single symptom and writing down, okay, from, cycle 6, I was feeling sick from Thursday, but cycle 7, I didn't start feeling sick till Saturday. But then, you know what I mean? So I've tried to really prevent myself from writing every single thing down and making too many comparisons. Or this week I felt this, the next week I felt that. It's just easier to just accept what's going on at that point and just move forward.
Well, it's going to happen anyway.
Exactly.
Like, you're going to get sick at some point. Yeah. But it has an end to the chemo too, so. But it's compiling. Like my chemo is compiling as shit.
Yeah.
Well, it still is.
I feel like my face changes color.
I don't know. I don't see you.
My husband seems to think I'm just making it up, but I feel like
I'm guessing he sees your face probably more than yourself. So if it is changing color, he might actually be the one who's concerned.
Yeah. Aside from that, like, I've been able to maintain a healthy weight range. None of my hair's fallen out, which is
that's a bonus.
Super cool for a girl.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
that's great.
Very helpful. But yeah, overall, I'm feeling like what my health is. Yeah, all things considered, I feel like it's going pretty well.
That's awesome.
That's awesome to hear, Dahlia. And we'll obviously keep hopefully getting updates from you and keep following your chemo themo journey as well. But Willy, mate, we'll leave the best to last, or what do they say? The bloody I don't know.
Shit before the shovel. Is that that's me? I tend to be the shovel in this. No, as far as
Willy,
sorry.
How's your health, mate?
My health.
Willy, your health?
Well, as if anyone's actually watching this, sitting here with a thing of bourbon and some chicken nuggets of Dahlia, but that's all hers actually. This actually isn't bourbon. No, my health has actually been going up. It has been getting a lot better because I've had almost 3 weeks off the chemo now. So I had a big weekend filming away in Sydney for an upcoming TV show, which I can't actually talk too much about, but it's going to be epic.
Exciting.
Yeah, it's actually The Bachelor, or it's Love Island. It's one of the two. Imagine that.
Imagine seeing Willy on Love Island. Jeez, that would be.
Oh, Jesus.
Be fierce.
That would be fierce. It'd be brilliant. I wouldn't tell anyone I had cancer until right to the end. Once someone had fallen in love with me, then they'd be like, "Oi, I'm dying." And just to see like my Instagram followers go through the roof as just like hate goes towards me. Just like, you're a piece of shit. No, but my health, like on a serious note, so I start chemo my 12th and final round / month this Monday coming.
Cheers to that.
So yeah, shit, yeah.
Cheers, mate. Last round. I'm cheering again to the camera, but cheers.
Yeah. So that's fantastic that's finally fucking over. And then from there it'll be a rest up, 3 or 4 weeks. I'll get another MRI scan, which me and Hugo talked about offline. That the stress before the MRIs always sucks because it's like at some point one of these scans is going to be like, hey man, this is going really badly. Let's put you under the anesthetic and fuck you up. So that'll happen at some point. So every scan is like, is this going to be the one? Is this going to be the one?
What do you mean by
what
you just said?
So I've a scan every 3 months. Okay. And at the moment, because I'm undergoing chemo, every scan tends to be better. It's like, oh, look, it's shrunk a little bit or it hasn't changed. Now that I'm finishing chemo and we're just watching and waiting, we're sort of waiting for it to get worse. So it could get worse in 3 months or it could get worse in 10 years. But every 3 months, I'll continually have that bullshit scan of that pressure of, is this going to be the scan that comes back that this is fucked? Oh. So, yeah.
Is there any chance of having any more chemo, or sort of 12 months generally the max they do with your chemo? And then, like you said, then it's the option of surgery if you need it. Yeah,
well, actually, I asked my oncologist about this on Wednesday was my appointment to see him. And he tended to think this is it for now, at least for now. I didn't say is there a possibility in the future? I don't see why there wouldn't be. I'm not sure how your body sort of builds, if it does build an immunity to it after a while or it's too hard on your organs. But he tends to think this is it. And then we'll go under another path. There's always options of chemo down in the future. They can actually find a dose for particular people to hold their tumor at bay. So say I'm taking 400 milligrams of temazole a day, and that is, trying to actually shrink the tumor. They may down the line be able to find, well, your tumor's growing at this particular rate, but if we give you a slightly less dose, a few milligrams or tens of milligrams, you'll barely feel the effect. Meanwhile, it's shrinking the tumor this fast, but as it's growing at the same rate, and it just holds it steady.
Right.
So some people live on these super low doses of chemo in tablet form for years and years and years, and barely feel the effect because it's so little. I was reading about some people. I'm on 400 milligrams and they're on 0.5 milligrams.
Jeepers.
Because that's enough just to keep their tumor. It's killing it at the same rate it's growing. So it's one of those
one
things.
Step forward, one step back.
Literally. So
stupid tumor, idiot.
Fuck you, tumor. We've got you on a treadmill. You tire it out eventually. It might just kill itself.
Wow.
Yes. So that's how that's all going.
I know we did touch on it, Willy, but unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because obviously it's it's something that no one wants to go through. But chemo in the last 12 months of your life, it's kind of unfortunately been who you are in terms of you're so used to preparing for another round of chemo, the side effects, feeling like shit, prepare. It's kind of that unfortunate cycle you've done for 12 months. It must be a bit of a relief / a bit of I don't know, how are you feeling knowing that that's kind of all behind you now?
Yeah, it's a weird one because chemo, it is fucking invasive on your body and it sort of dictates everything. It dictates not only what you do, but it can actually dictate sort of who you are. In many ways, you do have mental side effects as well as the stress that comes with it and everything. So it's almost a little bit scary for me being like, shit, I'm I'm coming back into a normal world off chemo. Like I've got to be me again. So it's almost a bit of Stockholm syndrome. Like, oh fuck. So I'm not going to be sick 2 weeks of every month. Like I'm going to have all this spare time. Like what am I going to do?
Yeah. I just to like contribute to that. I feel like I'm living my life in fortnightly cycles.
Yeah.
Like
That's how it
that's
is.
just that's the only way
It's
that
like
you can do it.
2 weeks sick, 2 weeks good.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be off and be like 4 weeks good.
What?
Continue.
That's
like,
great.
and then, so yeah, it's almost like Stockholm syndrome of like, shit, I'm going to, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself after this treatment because everything for 12, 13 months has been dictated by the drugs.
Precisely.
But you're going to feel the same thing when you get off them too. So
yeah.
Are you going to have a post chemo party, Willy?
oh, look, I'm not much of a drinker, so we'll see how that goes.
I'm not much of a drink. Let me just have a sip of this whiskey.
Yeah, well, I'll cheers.
I am absolutely having a stoma funeral.
It's too much. Yes.
Yeah. Like after I have my ileostomy reverse, I'm absolutely having a stoma funeral. So maybe we can go like Facebook Live for that.
Yeah, actually,
Can I offer a suggestion, Dahlia?
Yes.
Can you make the theme that everyone can dress up as one of your themes of your chemo theme?
Right.
Yes.
Good call.
because what is there? There's going to be 12 dress ups.
12 dress ups. You can choose one of them. 1 or 12.
Hugo, you and me aren't allowed to come in cams
Yeah. No. Definitely not.
because that's too easy for us.
I'm going as Marilyn Monroe.
I shotgun the emo. I'd never went through an emo phase.
No.
So I know. I'm pretty sure Mum and Dad are listening to the live. So I never went through an emo phase. So it's going to come back.
I was frothing
too
it
late,
so hard.
Yeah.
It was the best. Like that was.
That was epic.
And then I get home because like I have a very like my family was quite conservative growing up. So me getting piercings and changing my hair color, that was just not on. And I rocked up to Mum's house after I'd finished chemo and she goes, well, you look quite nice. And I was like, where was this attitude when I was 15, full of teen angst? All I wanted to do was pierce my nose.
That's great.
Oh yeah.
So look, for those listening, there's just a bit of a health update, I suppose, for the three of us. If you've got any specific questions regarding to either one of us in regards to our health that we've just talked about, then please feel free to hit us up and ask any questions. We're all open books and we're more than happy to answer anything to do with our current health. And we'll obviously continue to try and update you all along the way. So look, we might just get into a few questions now. And these are picked in any random order that people have sent through. But I feel like a good place to start, Willy. A question did come from your mum, your lovely mother, Vicky.
Oh, Vicky, and hello, Vicky. I know they'll be creeping on the Facebook Live or the YouTube Live. Mum and Dad will be sitting around like, oh, he's on telly.
If my parents could figure it out, they would be doing the
Actually,
same.
yeah, mine might not be. They might still be figuring it out. It might be on Netflix. Like, where is he? Like, he's on here somewhere.
It's the Red app, right?
Yeah. Vicky.
But the question from Vicky, and I really liked it. It stood out to me, so I've definitely saved that as one of the questions for today. Vicky said, do you believe everything happens for a reason, or do we just find reasons after things happen?
Oh, geez. Well, I am a firm believer that things don't just happen for a reason. You know, my whole sort of everything I do is based off free will, that we can do anything we want. And we have to implement change when things happen to us. So, you know, whether it's cancer or anything, you implement change in your life. Anything from what you'll wear, if it starts raining, you implement change. And that reminds me very firmly of, there is a quote. I said his name before, Hugo, offline. Stephen Hawking. Yeah. So Stephen Hawking says, I like the idea that people that believe in fate still look both ways while crossing the road. And that's true. If you just believe everything just happens for no reason, why bother looking across the road? You're going to get hit or not. And that's sort of me with everything I do. I'm like, well, no, it's all up to me. And look, even if someone were to prove me wrong that I don't have free will, at least I have the illusion of it. So fuck it, I'm going to go with that. It seems more fun.
I like that.
Free will seems more fun than if everything's predestined and predetermined in your life. That's boring as hell. Like, imagine being born and like everything that's going to happen to me or whatever is already predetermined. That's just boring.
Yeah, no, I like that, Willy. And look, it's an interesting one. And look, I'm personally not religious. And I've got nothing against people who follow any type of religion. I think that's, you know, obviously everyone is entitled to their own beliefs. However, with a question like that, do you believe everything happens to a reason? It's hard to say that, you know, let's say for you, Willy, you getting diagnosed with an incurable form of brain cancer, oh yeah, that happened for a reason, or did myself getting 2 types of cancer before 30, or Dahlia getting an advanced bowel cancer, it happens for a reason. Look, I'm more under the mindset of making the best out of a bad situation. So although I don't think everything necessarily happens for a reason, it's more, well, if something does happen, it's happened. We can't change that. It's happened. That's life. But let's make the best out of that bad situation. So I guess choosing your fate or choosing your path once something has happened, i.e. when you got diagnosed with brain cancer, you could have easily kind of been very closed, been kept to yourself and not chosen to actually go, you know what, I'm going to use this to help others.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a good way.
And if you believe everything does happen for a reason, then why bother doing chemo or anything like that? Like, why bother continuing to push things? Because, it's already going to happen. So you sort of give up your own sort of humanities. You're just like, fuck it, I'm just going to do nothing, and then nothing good will happen to you.
That's true.
What about yourself,
do you have anything to add on that?
Yeah, I've been going to Buddhist meditation classes since December last year, and the teacher that is affiliated in the Adelaide community, her name is Luma, but she was quoting another gentleman. I've just forgot his name. I think it's Kelsang. Anyways, he's a gentleman that lives in Melbourne, and he said, and maybe he's quoting somebody else, but just a bit of a tagline that I've got in the back of my head all the time is everything is the way that it's supposed to be, and if it was supposed to be different, it would be.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I actually do feel like everything kind of happens for a reason. Like, for me personally, I'm kind of glad that this has happened to me and not any of my best friends or my parents or my brothers or their wives or my husband or anything like that. I just feel like it happened to me because I'm glad that it happened to me because I feel like I am capable of carrying this, quotations burden. I don't even see it as a burden, but I feel like me going through it is something that I hope to, I don't really know how to articulate what I mean, to help other people realize that cancer doesn't need to be this stereotype, basically.
Yeah, I remember someone, and I'm not religious, but someone actually said to me when I first got diagnosed, it's like, God only gives things like this to people who can handle it. And I'm like, look, I paid it off massively because I was like, nah. And that sort of ties into what you're saying, even if it's not a God as such, but you're saying like, you can handle it and you have grown from this.
Absolutely. And I feel like I've
been
made
something of something shit.
Yeah. And I've been able to connect with other people going through the same thing and helping them as well go through whatever they're going through because, being so public about it on social media has, linked me up with you two and like particular people in the UK. So I feel like it's been, beneficial for more than just me.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Absolutely. Are you religious, Dahlia?
I grew up kind of
agnostic.
I feel like I'm learning a lot growing up, so I'm kind of just
do it as it comes.
I'm not practicing, but I feel like I'm spiritual, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that's becoming like more and more popular with people. Is like people becoming like spiritual, but like, I can have it both ways. I can believe in the science aspect, aspect and combine them.
True.
Yeah.
No, thanks. And thanks, Vicky, for sending that one through. I think it was quite an interesting question. I think we've all got similar, but in a way varying, opinions on that. But if anyone else has got their own thoughts on that, please send them through. But I've got another question here from Darren Matuku, and apologies if I'm not good at pronouncing people's last names. But Darren Matuku sent in a question, and he said, "How do you accept death? I know it's a part of life, but I'm terrified of it." So did you want to lead off there, Willy?
Yeah, I'll kick us off on a deep question. Was it Darren that was from? Sorry, Hugo?
Darren. It was from Darren, yes.
Firstly, thanks, Darren. That's a pretty heavy question. Look, I think part of sort of the human condition is to be scared of death, which almost is a little bit silly because it happens to everyone who was, everyone who is, and everyone who will be, will die. That's part of living as a human is where you're born, we pay tax, and then we die. And everyone will pay tax as much as you die. But at some point you'll die. Accepting death earlier, I think some people sort of go into this like myself and think, I'm going to have X amount of years, 80, 90 years. And it's not that I've accepted that I'm going to die in, shorter than that, but I'm also realistic. Like I'm optimistic about my life, but I'm also very realistic. So I think as far as accepting death is to do shit you want to do, because you don't know what tomorrow holds, because at some point everyone in their life will go into a doctor's office and they will get news that they are dying from something. That will happen to every single person. And like it or not, that's how society will go. So it's something that, don't have any regrets. And I always say, like, if I were to drop dead right now, like if I would have a drink of this whiskey and fall over dead, I would have zero regrets in what I've done. It's not saying that it's not stuff I want to do in the future, but pretty much as far as everything's gone in my life, I've done basically everything I've ever wanted to do. And that's where I think bucket lists are a waste of time. Do it. Like if you have a bucket list, I want to go jump out of a plane. Well, it's not that hard. Like fucking go book a ticket and jump out of a plane. Because if you keep living with those regrets, things you've missed out on doing, then accepting death is very hard. I want to be an 80-year-old man sitting there going, yep, I did everything I ever wanted to do. And one of the most influential people in my life, which is Christopher Hitchens, who's an author. He sort of came to fame doing a lot of anti-religious stuff, but he also talks a lot about, life and sort of the meaning to life. He actually died of lung and throat cancer, but he talks about not having any regrets in life. And one of my favorite quotes from him is, life is too short to not tell arseholes that they're arseholes. So, but that's very true. And if you know who he is, you'll be like, yeah, he does call out everyone. But I think, you're only here for a finite amount of years. You could make that either longer or shorter, depending on sort of your own health. And sometimes for unforeseen circumstances, you will be cut significantly shorter than you think. And look, I'm 23. I've lived a lot longer than some people. And that's where I sort of believe in a lot of the fundraising towards children's cancer, is I've had that opportunity to grow up and do shit. A lot of people might think 23 is young. Well, what about 23 months? People are dying of cancer at that.
Yeah.
So I think I'm incredibly lucky for everything I've had, and everything from now is sort of bonus years or bonus days. I'm like, fuck yeah, this is all awesome. Like from here on out, every day is a bonus for me. So I'm just going to live it and be happy.
That's awesome, mate.
If that makes sense.
I think it's,
yeah.
No, absolutely, man. I think it's, for those listening, it's quite easy to forget that Willy is only 23. And Amber, my lovely partner, actually mentioned it the other day after listening to one of our episodes, and you actually mentioned it was with when we were talking to Joe, the psychologist. You said, "Oh, and I'm 23," and she actually kind of realised that, holy shit, Willy's 23. Not that because you look 33 with that mo, mate.
But I do.
It's more because the way, I guess, you're so wise beyond your years, and that's the honest truth. And so for quite a deep question like that, like if you asked most 23-year-olds, how do you accept death? Most 23-year-olds would not be able to answer that in the way that you answered it. And that's obviously because your life is so, I guess, what you've had to go through has taught you so much about life and death and everything. So I think it's fantastic to hear that response from you, because it is so enlightening to so many people. And I think on that, and it relates very well to it, Willy, I've just finished watching a TV show called Afterlife.
Oh, so good.
And for those who haven't seen it, it's a new Netflix show called Afterlife with Ricky Gervais, and it is absolutely fantastic. It's not like The Office or some of his other slapstick comedies. It touches on very touching issues, quite sad issues, but also with a bit of humor. And it touches on things like depression, cancer, grieving, and life in general. And it's only a 6-part miniseries, but it's fantastic. Well, I actually wrote down a quote before, Willy, which actually what you've just said then, Ricky Gervais actually says this. He says, once you realize that you're not going to be around forever, I think that's what makes life so magical. One day you'll eat your last meal, smell your last flower, hug your friend for the very last time. You might not know it's the last time. So that's why you should do everything you love with passion. Treasure the few years you've got left, because that's all there is. And I think that kind of quote that he said, I was literally watching it, I kid you not, about half an hour ago before we're recording this, and then that question came up and you answered the way you answered it. And I think that's quite an amazing way to, like you said, you put it, let's, instead of fearing death, live the life that you can live. And as he said in the show, love, yeah. So that's why you should do everything you love with passion. So I really love that. So I think that was a good way
Yeah,
summarize
and I guess with sort of the age thing, yeah, I'm 23, but I also think, you know, I've had more experiences, or at least put myself in more situations to experience than people who are 50. Like,
Totally.
absolutely.
Age to me is your age is almost like what you've been exposed to, or what do you expose yourself to, and you grow from you grow small pieces from bad stuff that happens to you, non-challenging things, you know, just good life. But the things you grow from the most is the bad things you are exposed to or expose yourself to, and the more situations you put yourself in that challenge you and challenge who you are. That's what grows you as a person. And that's where you become, as you're wise. That's where it comes from. And I just think so many people live almost just like such a sheltered life that
robotic.
They don't want to expose themselves to anything really scary. And then the thing is, you don't ever have to expose yourself to something that's scary, but you're going to die at the end of it. The scariest thing for humans is dying. That's it. And that is going to happen. It doesn't matter what you do, you will die at some point. So I almost feel like the more situations I put myself in that are scary, the less fear I have of anything else, including dying.
Absolutely. And Dahlia, do you have anything to say on that with when Darren wrote in saying, you know, he'd say terrified of, for those who are terrified of death, what are your thoughts on that?
It's really strange for me to think about, I guess, because my colorectal surgeon said to me that 50% of GPs wouldn't have recommended that I go get a colonoscopy, which, yeah. And so I don't actually know the statistics for death in 20-year-olds for bowel cancer, but I do know that it's very heavily misdiagnosed. I feel like I've already had to sort of death at that point. I had,
for sure.
You know, I just went to a random doctor at the domain, the public health system, and he was the one that made that decision for me. It's quite confronting, I guess. Again, going to meditation has been something that's, really just taught me about if you want happiness and you want to strive for happiness, you can do that. You don't have to be focusing on all the negatives. And I think that's kind of the way that I'm viewing my own mortality, is that if I can do the best with the life that I have right now and be as, you know, what is there to fear or regret, I guess.
Bloody oath. And I sort of on that, if you look at if you were to look at the odds of us existing as people, you know, it's like 10 to the power of 1,000. Like the odds of actually us being born are like a trillions. And I'm like, fuck, the amount of sort of embryos that never had this chance. Look at us. Fuck it. Like, this is epic. Like, why shouldn't you do everything you can in this life? You know, we are so small and we're here with well, at least consciousness, or the perception of consciousness, and that's just epic. Like, that's the best thing ever. So why not just live the best life you can?
I think, and just to add to that is just that, you know, there are people that just are living their lives in this, you know, habitual, I don't want to change anything type of way. And I think like maybe we might not live to the same age as that person is, but I feel like the content and value of my life has just been
just epic.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to do. You want like an epic life. Like I want at my funeral there'd be like a slideshow and people like, holy fuck, he did some sick shit. Like, he's a dickhead. What about yourself, Hugo?
I was just going to say, actually, it's an interesting one because there's throughout my whole cancer journey, my 2 cancer journeys, there's only been one time where I generally thought that I almost accepted that I was going to die, and it was that second surgery I had in the hospital after my bowel cancer surgery, and it was when it was going downhill very quickly, and basically I was looking around and I saw the surgeon's face and I saw how serious it was, and I looked at my dad, and my dad was signing the consent form, and on the consent form it said literally, in case I die, waiving the right for that. And I remember it was a bit of a surreal moment. I was on so many fucking painkillers, to be honest, so I probably wasn't necessarily as clear-headed as I normally would be, but something just rushed over me, and I actually accepted the fact that, well, this could be one of those times you go under an anesthetic and you don't wake up. So I must admit that was the one time in my life where I actually did get a little bit scared in a way of like, shit, this could be it. But I wasn't necessarily terrified of it because I think, like you guys just touched on, a bit of the, not being cliche when everything flashes before your eyes, part of me did kind of think, well, shit, this sucks. This is the moment. However, I was looking around and I saw the surgeon's face and I saw how serious it was. And have I lived the best life up until now? And you know what? I think I haven't. And I think that's the best part to view your life. And like you both touched on, is live every day with that sense of passion. And so if today is or tomorrow is your last day, you look back and go, you know what? I've lived a pretty awesome life. I've surrounded with people that I love, and that's ultimately the main thing. So look, there's nothing wrong with necessarily being scared of it in parts, but it's one of those things like Willy just touched on. Everyone throughout their life will be faced with a stage in their life where they will, for whatever reason, face death. So it's just one of those things, unfortunately, with life. And I think there's no reason to think too much into it.
But I guess you say unfortunately, and I'll almost rebuttal that unfortunately, if we were to live forever, why would we do anything? And I sort of think because we have such a predetermined amount of time, that even the longest we're going to have at best is 100 years, like at best. And that is such a small time in a universe that's 13.5 billion years old. That's 0.001%. And it's like, because we've got such a finite, small amount of time and that end is eventually coming, there's no excuse not to do everything you want to do. Tomorrow is not always promised.
Yeah, good point, Willy. Good point.
That's
right. So thanks for that question, Darren. It's we've got kind of on that question. I think I've just saw one here, which it's from Connor B. So Connor B sent in a question, and I think it's an interesting one, and you can lead off with this one if you want. But it says, how do you both? Obviously, you're with us now, Dahlia. So the question from Connor is, how do you all have a fantastic, positive outlook on life? So, Dahlia, did you want to lead off with that one?
I love my life so much. I really am. I really do.
So
and like everybody knows it too, which I think is like, you come across a happy person.
Does that ever piss people off though? Do you ever get friends who are pissed or like, stop being so fucking happy?
Oh, I think I'm just like more like people are just surprised at how happy I am. Is more the issue or whatever. They're just dumbfounded. I'll tell everyone like, yeah, so I've had this happen this week, and then this happened, and then I did this lovely thing, and blah blah blah, blah. And I'll explain it to the person standing right in front of me. And then as soon as I walk away, they kind of do this thing where they'll go up to Dave, my husband, and sort of put their hand on his shoulder and just be like, but how is she really?
Oh, really?
They literally just they can't actually believe that I am as happy as I am every day.
Yeah. People
are just shocked by it. So I guess
I can understand that though, because a lot of people probably do look at you and kind of go, you're going through a pretty awful time. Maybe she is putting on that brave face. So you can understand why people go, look, Dahlia is awesome, but is she just putting on that brave face? Because I think a lot of people do put on a brave face.
Yeah, I guess I'm quite genuine when I'm talking to people. I think a lot of that I'm trying to make sure that all of my happiness is coming from my mind, because, you are what you think is basically my mantra at the moment. You are what you think. And so if you're focusing on these negative things that are happening to you, well, what kind of benefit are you going to get out of that?
Yeah.
Whereas if you can focus on and it's very easy to focus on the negative. It's the default.
Absolutely.
Whereas if you can try to help yourself by sort of training your mind to look for the good and what ways I can make myself a better person to benefit other people as well, like it just makes you happy.
Yeah.
I guess that's just my...
Like finding negatives is so easy. But finding a positive is so much more helpful.
And so for me, I try to make sure that my first source of happiness comes from myself. And then the secondary forms of happiness come from the love of my husband and the community that I'm affiliated with and my parents and my in-laws and my friends. And I try to make sure that I'm not relying on outer sources to make me happy. It's all coming from myself.
Yeah, that's an incredible way to look at it, I guess.
That's me right now.
On that though, Dahlia, and that's why I was so drawn to you when I first came across you, is that you're just so positive and you've got that lively personality, which I absolutely love. But at the same time, and I suppose it's important for people listening, it's not always, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not always that 100% of the time. And I know we've chatted offline, messages and stuff like that, and you have had some days where, you've had a bit of a down day, you've had a bit of a day where you've been struggling a bit, and sometimes it isn't necessarily easy all the time to be ultra positive. And you see to sometimes go, you know what, I'm not feeling positive today, but that's also okay.
True. And just to mention what, I'm sorry, I've lost the name of the psychologist that was on last week, but that's what she was explaining to Joe. Yeah, of course, knew that because I was thinking, Hey Joe, the song, Hey Jude. She mentioned that, it was just in my head. To be able to not be too frightened to reach out to those particular people. Like, I feel like when I'm feeling really shitty, you two are the people that I would prefer to talk to about it because you understand what I'm going through. You're not going to feel bad for me. Because I feel like when I talk to particular people, be like, oh, you know, had a bad sleep or I'm feeling really nauseous, whatever. And they just get really sad. And so I try to be quite specific about, like what Joe mentioned is to reach out to the people that can help you with that,
absolutely,
you know, hurdle that you're trying to get over.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
No, I love that point. Like when she mentioned if it's the go-to person with the lasagna, I think she mentioned in her episode, which is so true. And I love how you can feel open enough to reach out to us, Dahlia, and likewise, I'm sure I can do the same to you both. But it's usually a point you touch on there, and I think you're right. It's so easy to focus on the negatives, and I think it's one of those things where it's like a vicious cycle in a way, because the more you think about the negatives, the more you try and rationalize it, and I guess the worse it gets, and it turns into another negative. So it's one of those vicious cycles that it's easy to do, and it kind of brings you down. I think we're touching on a few of Joe's little quotes here, but another one she also mentioned, and I love it. She says, people don't often take time to reflect on what they do well.
True.
And it's so true. Everyone's always so the first to admit that when they're bad at something or when life isn't going well or or whatever, but they don't actually take time to reflect of, you know what is going well in life. Let's actually focus more on that and put the energy towards that rather than focusing on, you know, I've got these bills to pay or I'm having a trouble with my relationship and all this type of stuff. Because like it's just that vicious cycles.
Oh, Hugo, you're breaking up on us.
Where'd you go, man?
Pause right here. What am I grateful for? And what are some things going well in my life? So I think that's an important point. Willy, obviously, mate, you're known for your positivity and being positive, but we also did touch on life. Look, that's amazing, but it isn't necessarily like that 100% of the time, and you're quite open with that as well.
No, and you're right. It's not like that 100% of the time. And I wouldn't say that I'm an overly positive person. I'd say I pretty much almost have an optimistic approach to things, but I'm not just some people are that positive. You're not looking at things realistically. Like some people you're like, no, there is nothing positive in this situation, or it is shit. But I think part of positivity is actually accepting shit times. So my cancer fucking sucks. Like I'm not saying there's not positive things. You can make something positive of it, but cancer as itself, at least mine, there's no positive to this. You have to make a positive out of it. If you were to write down what does brain cancer do to you physically, or negatives, but you can actually control who the fuck you are and what you do, and create something positive out of that. And I think that's where I almost have an illusion of positivity. To some people, it's like, oh, you're so happy all the time and all this. And I'm like, no, I'm not happy all the time, but I'm just not depressed about it all the time.
Yeah, I find that a lot with me. Yeah, I had something in my head that I was going to say. I think people are literally shocked at how happy I am.
Yeah.
And they're kind of saying things, and it's really weird. I don't know if this is sort of relevant. You can cut this out later, Hugo, if it's not. But it's just, I just
swiping over.
Yeah. I just feel like a lot of people are coming to me and saying, you know, you're quite inspirational. Like you're really tackling this. And for me, I don't feel like I'm doing anything differently. I feel like I'm just acting how I normally would.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I guess I don't feel like I'm making this massive effort to be happy. I guess it's weird to think that I'm happier now than I was before diagnosis.
Yeah, and if you were to get pros and cons, you get nothing out of being just fucking not positive about what's going on. Like if you're depressed and down about your cancer, there's nothing good comes of that. Like no one would want to listen to what I have to say. No one would really follow me. And I go through waves of, depression, anxiety with this, but people want to see you come through it too. And I think, being positive and being open as well. But you don't always have to be that positive person with myself. I'm like, I will put up a post, say, and be like, yeah, I am feeling shit about this. But that is, accepting it as well. So I go through massive waves of it.
It's definitely like each to their own type of thing.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I just feel like you're talking about these up days and down days. And when I do have my chemo weekends, it's like 3 kind of pretty bad days. But like aside from that, I just feel like I've just really honed in on my own mind, and I just really try to keep it in the right spot.
Yeah, keep it real. Like, I've got 3 days sick.
Yeah.
But then I'm going to have, I don't know what your break is, 15 days or something of feeling good. And I'm like that too. So I'm like, fuck, Monday, I'm going to feel shit for 2 weeks. Like 2 weeks solid from Monday, I'm going to feel fucking horrendous. And I'm like, but that's only 14 days. From there, it just starts going up again. And especially with this being my last round, I'm like, fuck it. I can be as sick as I want. And I'm just going to all up from here. As of next Friday, it's up. It's not even uphill. It's downhill. It's all smooth sailing. So
I feel like the more happy that I am, the more beneficial I can be to other people. And that's a lot of what they teach you in Buddhism is like how you can benefit others, because benefiting others makes you feel good.
Oh, yeah. The best thing I've ever done for myself is my fundraising.
Yeah, helping other people.
Because people are like, oh, man, hey, you helped me so much. And that's all I need. Like that helps me so much more than donating $50,000 to me was better than if someone gave me $50,000 to spend. Like, I would rather donate that money than someone give it to me. Like, because I'm like, that made me feel so good because I know I am actually helping people. We're one step closer to getting rid of shit.
I'm glad you brought that up, Willy, because it's so true. And I think this podcast is very similar. We both started this podcast because genuinely we are passionate in trying to help others in whatever way that can be. Yeah. And I think you're right. When we receive messages from people, it generally means more than anything, I guess, on a monetary sense, because hearing that, people's lives have been affected, for example, from hearing people's stories like Dahlia's or Ben's or, having these amazing people on the show, like it kind of makes what we do worthwhile. And that makes me extremely positive and happy because it's like a passion that I finish work for the day. And instead of binge watching some Netflix, for example, I genuinely look forward to, recording another episode in the podcast. I think that's another awesome way. And it's a good point you touched on that. Sometimes finding that something you're passionate in that genuinely makes you happy or positive, whether that helping people or podcasts, whatever that may be, is a pretty awesome way. And on that with the podcast, in terms of my personal positive outlook, I have always been under the approach that it could always be worse.
Oh, yeah.
Too true.
Whenever I'm finding myself in a shit position going, this sucks, I always think to myself that, you know what, it could always be worse. And I think a prime example of that, Willy, was when we got Ben on the episode and, having to literally physically lift Ben up, to put him in my car, to drive him over to the episode. And you speak to this guy and he was so positive. And here's a guy that's got 7% movement of his entire body. And I look at myself walking out of your house, Willy, saying goodbye to you all, getting in my car, driving home. I really had time to reflect on, what my current situation isn't that bad. Like, I'm like considering it could be a whole lot worse. I'm sure Ben, if Ben's listening to this, good day, Benny boy, but I'm sure he's the first to admit that, you know what, it could always be worse for his situation too. So I think that's another thing that I've really took a lot out of is in my current situation that's maybe quite positive is that, you know what, my current situation is pretty good considering, like I said, it could always be worse.
Yeah, I feel that way. So
fucking
about living in Australia, being able to, have accessibility to healthcare, and the journey that I've been on has been so smooth compared to other people's. It's been like all the hurdles that, most people might have to deal with, for example, like hospital being further away or not having, the family support or, not even being told about that colonoscopy to go have it. Like, I feel like every step of the way that I've been through has been quite smooth. So I just don't feel like I have that much to be upset about.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we'll just go through another couple questions here, then we'll look to wrap things up for today's episode. But a question someone sent through to me, which whilst I've got you here, Dahlia, too, why Willy and I have you here, I think it's a great question to bring up. She sent, her name was Bonnie, so g'day, Bonnie, if you're listening, but she sent a question through and she said, what as a cancer fighter or survivor is the best thing that those supporting you can do? And then she mentioned through her own personal situation that she's had people in her life go through cancer, and she's kind of saying, well, having not going through that as a personal, how do we, I suppose, not going through that support cancer survivors or those going with cancer? So I suppose we'll start with you if you got Willy, but going through it, you've gone through. As an outsider, what's the best way that you feel someone can do to support you?
And that like, thanks, Bonnie, for that. It is a very hard question because, of course, my journey has been with myself, not with dealing with someone with cancer, but not helping someone through cancer. So it's probably a better one for, like, say, my parents or your partners, for you both. But my big one would be give the support when it's needed, but also give space when it's needed too. People can, like, especially with myself, I'm not dying tomorrow. Like, you know, and sometimes people just need space. You can feel very overwhelmed with everything that's going on because you've just been introduced to 5 specialists. You're going through a journey which you have no fucking idea what's happening. You have so many people coming in your messages, everything. Sometimes you just need space, and giving that person space if they need it is important. But overall, it's, you know, making sure that they know you actually are there for them. You're thinking about them, making sure there's, you know, make their life a little bit easier for them. So say it's your partner or, you know, someone who lives in the same house as you, maybe just do this for them or whatever, because it is something hard to go through. It can be very wearing, but you need to be also cognizant to not change their whole life too, because yes, cancer can change a lot, but it doesn't mean you change who you are. So don't just like wrap them in cotton wool and be like, you can't do anything. I need to look after you. Yeah. That's not that either. They're still a person. They're still doing things. If it's your housemate, fuck it. Get them to still do shit. Maybe make it a little bit easier for them, but it's still, you know, they're still living. They're not dead yet. They're still living and they need to live. They need to hold, you know, the routine they've got as best they can. Yes, they're going through a lot. Give them space when they need, but don't just treat them. I hate the word cancer victim or cancer patient. I think those are terrible statements. We're not victims of cancer and we're not patients of cancer. We are our own people who have cancer. But we are first and foremost, you know, Hugo, Dahlia, and Willy. That's who we are first and foremost. You know, that 1% of our life and 1% of our cells in our body is a cancer. Don't call me my whole life by that. Like, I'm not that. I'm Willy first and foremost, and I've got cancer. But it's not everything about me, and it's not everything about them. They are still who they are. It's who they have been for 20 years. So it's important to not sort of let them forget who they are as well.
No, I love that, Willy. And how about yourself, Dahlia? Throughout your cancer journey, I suppose, what are some tips for those on the outside that aren't going through what you're going through? Do you find have helped you as far as support goes, and some tips, I suppose, for those who might be going through something similar with a family or a loved one? What the things they can do to really, I guess, support those?
I guess I would say don't presume or assume anything. Don't assume anything either way. And also try not to be too empathetic. I just feel like I get way too much sympathy. I don't need it. Some people might need it. And this is where I'm coming on the presumptuous sort of arm of it. Don't assume either way. Because maybe some people do want a lot of empathy. Yeah. Maybe they do. But I just wouldn't assume either way. Yeah.
And go through the journey with them too. Make sure you know what they want. If they do want empathy, give it.
Yeah, communication is obviously key. I think a lot of people, you know, it's taken them like 2-3 months and they'll sort of be like, hey, Dahlia, you know, sorry I haven't gotten in touch sooner. I wish I would have been able to, but I didn't know how to approach it, things like that. So I guess it really just depends on like how well you know the person. And I think me personally is the empathy thing. I find it awkward and uncomfortable when people are just too over the top.
Yeah.
I'll just touch on that point there that you just mentioned though, Dahlia, which is an interesting point. And this is a bit of, once again, this is a very personal question because it's everyone handles things differently. So this is once again according to how the three of us have found it. But a big one for me is that when people, I suppose, like you said before, Dahlia, months later kind of say, oh, sorry to hear, or they might not even say anything at all. And then a common response I got is, oh, I didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
But I think that's a bit of a
cop-out.
Almost a cop-out, because my response to that is, okay, if you generally don't know what to say, and you're right, some people generally don't know what to say. It can be a bit of, they've never experienced it before. What do I say? So my response to that, and for those listening, is a simple message or anything, just going, hey, literally say that. Hey, I don't know what to say, but I'm thinking of you. Literally, that's all you have to say. And I think that goes a long, long way. So you don't have to pretend you know how to make it right or you know the right things to say. And quite often, not everyone's good with words. But if you literally just say, look, I actually don't know what to say, but I'm just letting you know I'm here if you need me. As simple as that. And knowing that's when I personally went through that. And I got messages from people saying like, hey, mate, I heard so-and-so, just letting you know I'm here for you. One little message like that, I might not even reply to that message, but I know that person is there for me and they're there to support me. They don't have to do anything else, but it's the people who, through months and months of going through, say, before I went through, and I didn't hear from them at all. Do I judge them for that? No, I don't. But at the same time, more often than not, they would see me months and months later and be that same response of, hey, mate, sorry, I didn't know what to say. And look, I understand that. But for those listening, just a simple little message on just saying that is probably better than saying nothing at all.
I totally agree.
You're better off saying the wrong thing than saying fucking nothing. Like, at least in my experience, like I'd rather someone be like, hey, man, sounds like a shit situation. Hope you don't die. I would rather that than someone just fucking not message me, because then I'm like, at least if someone messages me something and I think they're a prick for it, at least they've gone to the effort and the thought to write something down. Like, nothing pissed me off more than, oh, look, I didn't know what to say, so I just didn't say anything. I'm like, fuck that. Like, and I sort of think if you're going to message someone, and if you don't know what to say, and that's fine, but don't tread around the idea. Jump in the deep end. And they say this with, say, mental health and suicide awareness. Don't tiptoe around it. If you really think like someone's going to kill themselves, ask them, hey, Matt, are you going to kill yourself? And I sort of think don't tiptoe around it. Like if someone messaged me, hey, man, heard about your brain cancer. That fucking sucks. How are you going? You're jumping in the deep end. The thing is, I've already dealt with, trust me, I know I've got cancer. Jump in the deep end with me and we'll go from there. I hate like tiptoeing around sort of flaky conversations. I had messages like, oh, hey, man, like, just piss. And I'm like, I don't care. I know you're messaging me to not ask me how I am, or you want to ask me how I am, but you don't want, you're too shy to, and you're tiptoeing around this idea, trying to figure out how I'm feeling through piss. And you know, like, say, I would never come to you, Hugo, maybe, and talk about mountain biking. But it's when someone who you're like, you never talked to me about this before, and they come in and you're like, you're tiptoeing around it here. And I've even said to people, like, don't tiptoe around it. Ask me, or I'm going well. Like personally, I think, jump in the deep end with them because they're already there. If they've got told they've got cancer, they're well and truly fucking treading water in the deep end. Jump in there with them, see how they actually are. And I think you can, as long as you're not a prick, you can say no wrong. Like no one's going to, if you ask like, hey man, how are you going? No one's going to reply, you're an asshole, fuck off. Well, maybe I will. I don't know. Maybe I might change.
Depends who you are.
Yeah, I might. If Dahlia messages me, that's what you get. Get stuff.
Maybe if you've had too many whiskeys, Willy. I don't know. Who knows, mate?
We haven't had that much yet. We've had
I can't drink too much more because the ice gives me neuropathy, which is
you wanted ice.
I do want ice, but
God damn.
This is the like default. I get pretty bad neuropathy Wednesday to Tuesday after I have chemo, and it's diverting here on. And so basically I can't pick up or eat anything cold, or my mouth goes numb, or my tongue goes numb.
It's like coming back from the dentist.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just a...
What do you think, Dahlia? How would you want someone to approach you? And I'm going to go with not like your husband, like a random.
Random.
Like, or not random, like a, not a best friend.
Don't, when you see me, I'm like, because it depends if you know I have cancer or not. Yeah. So a lot of the times, a customer, because I live quite close to my shop.
Quite close.
On
the roof.
I'll often see customers, I'm going for my beach walk or whatever, and they do this thing, and only the YouTubers are going to be able to see me right now. They tilt their head to the side and just go, and how are you going?
And how are you?
And how are you?
Yeah.
I really don't like that. I don't mind it because obviously, again, it's obviously coming from the right spot. Yeah. But you don't have to have that like 100% of the time, like, how are you doing? How, how you I just feel like just jumping into that sort of not negative, but like
Yep. Yeah, you're prodding for an answer you want.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
They want to then give you some life advice. Like, hey, Dahlia, how are you going? And if you're like, I'm not well, try this. Like, no.
And the big one there, I think you touched on, Willy, and it's a good point, is that the cancer, you need to remember this we can't speak for every cancer survivor or cancer fighter, but cancer doesn't define who we are. And that's Willy.
Bang on.
Yeah, fucking know.
I'm Dahlia.
I guess, yes, the end to that, for those listening that want to take one thing away, is that cancer doesn't define a cancer survivor. So that's basically, I think that's, we'll all agree on that. Look, we've touched on a few. Thanks, Bonnie, first of all, for that question. It was a very great question, but we've touched on a few of the, I'd say, heavier-ish questions in some of those last couple, but I might just finish off with the last question before we wrap things up. And I think it will go hand in hand with last week's episode with Joe, where we talked a lot about the power of habit and the success on autopilot. But my sister, my lovely sister Millie, who you met, Willy, at the pub, mate, my sister, she wrote in a question saying, what habit would you like to stick to? So following up from Joe's episode last week, talking all about habits, and I want to kind of finish this episode on a bit of a good or positive note. So let's talk about what habit would you like to stick to? And I can lead off if you guys haven't thought of anything yet.
Yeah, thank God, because I'm like, what the fuck habit have I got?
I'm ready.
The habit I'd really like to stick to is I guess I'd like to a good habit before bed. So at the moment, I find when I go to bed, before I turn the light off, I seem to be scrolling on my phone, and it's that whole blue light mentality, and I'm always having a screen in front of me, and I'd call that a bad habit. So the good habit I'd like to stick to, and I've never, ever been good at it, and my dad will probably listen to this and he will laugh because he's always laughed at it, is reading. I've never managed to pick up a book and get into books and reading, but I've always almost been a bit envious of people who really get into a good book.
I'm the same. How are you doing that?
Just got to find an author you like.
I don't know what it is, but it's funny. I did very well at English growing up in school, and I did English at uni. But for some reason, when it came to actually reading a book, I'd never actually get through it. And I think I often laugh, and my dad, my sister, and brother, and mum will probably laugh at this. But I think the Lemony Snicket books were some of the only books that I actually read growing up. And since then, it's probably been a few books here and there. So I suppose to answer your question, Millie, is that I'd really like before bed to get into the habit of just reading a few pages of a book, whether it's fiction or non-fiction, and making that a force of habit and just getting into reading. And I want to do that before bed. So let's make this further, guys. We'll take one of Joe's pieces, or I guess Joe's strategies, the when then planning. So when I get into bed, I will read 10 pages of a book or something like that. And I'm going to really try and stick to that habit. So I see how I go. I'll start tonight, Willy.
Yeah, I was going to say, have you started this habit yet?
No. My sister just wrote the question in, and I think it's something I really want to start. And it's something I've been thinking about for a while. So, Millie, answering your question, what habit would you like to stick to? Reading before bed is the habit I'd like to stick to. So how about yourself, Willy?
Jeez, that's a hard one. It's definitely not continuing on with more fucking chemo. That's a habit I am so likely to break. A habit. I've really been eating really fucking healthy lately, except for I'll just hide these nuggets and the bourbon. But as I sort of finish chemo, and I like to think I'm very someone of my word. For my New Year's video, it was like, this is the year I'll sort of retake, the reins of my own health. So yeah, it's, getting back to health in the army, getting out of this habit of being sick for so long and then coming out of that, getting back into health and fitness strongly.
Healthy morning smoothies, Willy?
Oh, fuck, yeah. Morning smoothies.
Doesn't mind them.
How good are they? Yeah, just my Instagram stories at the moment. It's just fucking bullshit smoothies.
Boomer smoothies.
Mate, that's a fantastic habit to stick to.
No, but you know what's happened to me is I've got all these people now sending me their smoothies. I've been tagged in. If you go in my tagged photos on Instagram, I've been tagged in a heap of photos today of like, game on, Willy. It's go time. Like Mike Larry, he's a real estate agent, friend of mine, ex section commander in the infantry. tagged me, like put a full post up on his like his business Facebook page for a real estate agent. Like, I've been challenged. I'm like, no, you haven't been. He's like, I've been challenged to a smoothie competition with Willy beating cancer. And I'm like, oh my God. So it's almost like, yeah, the habit of smoothies in the morning. Nah, like, sort of the big one for me is I'm a very honest person. And I'm not really sure I'd put anything out there, but I want to continue on the habit of being super honest with my Instagram, in sharing how I actually am feeling. It's so easy to tailor your Instagram, Facebook, any social to making your life look fucking awesome. And I want to continue the habit of like, look, it can be fucking awesome at times and it can be fucking shit at times. And the habit I want to stick to is just that honest sort of approach with everything. And it actually has got harder the more followers I've got, because I'm like, oh shit, like it wasn't 400 people I'm being honest to now about how shit I'm feeling, 400 friends. There's 11,500 randoms who I am telling that I'm not feeling well, or I'm having a problem with something. I don't want to stand up in front of 11,500 people and be like, I don't feel good today. Like, I'm struggling with this.
I've got diarrhea.
I've got diarrhea. So yeah, I want to continue that that honesty aspect of my life, because you can do no wrong if you're honest. Like,
Yeah, I love
to
that,
a degree.
I love that about you, mate. Your honesty, and I think that's definitely an awesome habit to stick to. Is that I think it's almost raw and refreshing for Instagram these days. We see so many, I guess, that perfect lifestyle type photos on Instagram, or those influencers on Instagram. It's quite almost refreshing and real to see someone like yourself. You put photos up of you in chemo, you put photos up of you feeling like shit, and I think I like that honesty about you, mate.
I think it's such a bullshit thing. You look at these people on Instagram, and I'll say mostly girls on Instagram putting up these booty photos and whatever, and it's like, you're full of shit. You're not living that life. Like, that is not your, like, unless you're a multi-millionaire who doesn't work, who doesn't have any problems, this is not your life. Being realistic about things, and that helps people relate to what you're doing. I think it's almost a very, almost concerning that people think these people live like that and have this illusion of, oh, I should be living like that. I should be on a boat in Mykonos in my bikini and look like that and be like that. When it is just as fine. It's fine to do that. It's fine to live like that. But also, if you're viewing this, you need to know that that's 0.1% of people actually live like that. There's nothing wrong with living like I do and like anyone else does. That's just as good. We almost get stuck on that's how my life should be because it's so accessible to us.
I think that, just going back to what I said before, it's just like, where is your happiness coming from?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's more, there's nothing wrong with doing things that you enjoy. But if you're relying on that thing to make you happy, well, it's not going to continue to make you happy long term. Yeah. That's not looking for external sources to make you happy, I think, is the majority of people's biggest mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah. And looking for like,
And Dahlia, just to finish off the line of questioning for today's episode, what's a habit, I suppose, that you would like to enforce in your life, or a habit that you would like to stick to?
Continuing with that mindset of looking for happiness in my own mind. Yeah. Once I go, I think for me, it's really difficult to imagine, because I was just saying before to Willy, I haven't worked fortunately, I'm in a position where I haven't had to work through all of this. So I haven't worked for 5.5 months. So I guess for me, when my chemo finishes in roughly 2 months and then I recover from my chemo and I do go back to work, I really want to keep that mentality in that my happiness comes from my mind. And I want to keep meditating and I want to keep sort of moving towards enlightenment. That's kind of like the goal with this type of meditation that I'm doing at the moment. But I just really want to keep that goal.
Real, dog.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure. Like, I just don't want to be looking for foods to make me happy or exercise to make me happy. I want to be able to control my happiness with my own thoughts. I just want to keep on doing that.
Yeah, I understand that.
I love that, Dahlia. I love the fact that you're into your meditation. That is something else that, as well as my reading, I did used to do hot yoga, and I would like to get back to that.
Is that
yoga piece?
Is that Bikram yoga? Is
no, there's hot yoga and then there's warm yoga.
Yeah, there are a few variations.
Bikram yoga is like, what's the temperature? Like 30 something.
Jesus.
Ish. And then warm yoga is like 25 degrees. Which I just froth.
When you're down in Adelaide next, Hugo, we'll live stream a hot yoga sesh just to see me and you in pain.
I'm super
Dahlia will be
nervous.
thriving and I'll be in agony.
Nah, I'm like, I haven't been able to go since I had my ileostomy bag, so I'm just petrified my poo bag's just going to fall off.
Shotgun not going anywhere near Dahlia. I'll go in another class.
I don't know if it'll happen.
Hugo, you can go with her. I'm not.
A big shout out to my dad actually with that. He goes to Yoga Fusion on Nord Parade, and he's been going there consistently for about 5-6 years now. And he is front row, front and center. And I've gone to a couple classes with him. And I can tell you right now, he puts me to shame.
That's the worst, isn't it?
So look, we will finish the episode up there. But thanks everyone for sending in your questions. We really do appreciate it. And hopefully you got something out of today's episode. And just quickly, there's been a lot of questions being sent in that have been Army related. And look, we won't necessarily cover off them specifically in this episode, especially with Dahlia here. But Willy and I have spoken about, we might even do a separate live Q&A where we post kind of to answer heaps of your Army-related questions, whether it's to do with cadets or the officer stream or being an infantry soldier, etc. So we are definitely collating those questions, but we will probably do a live Army Q&A stream. So it's been great chatting to you today, Dahlia, and thanks for joining us for the episode 8 Q&A.
So happy to be here. I was having such a sort of slow day.
Down a day.
Yeah. And so to get a message from Willy just being like, we're going to do a podcast, want to crash, made me feel really great. So I'm really glad to be a part of another episode.
It's always a pleasure to have you in.
Welcome anytime, Dahlia. Thanks everyone for listening. Have a great weekend.
Woo, woo, woo.
Thanks. And that's the end of the actual podcast, but we're still streaming live on YouTube. Firstly, thank you for everyone who's on YouTube. I'll go through some of your things. McKeon says the PP poo-poo man. I'm guessing that's towards you, Hugo.
He's the poo-poo man.
Why PP poo-poo man?
Why is he the poo-poo man? I should be the poo-poo person.
God, one of you can be the PP and one of you can be the poo-poo.
I'll be poo-poo.
PP and poo-poo. That's how I'm going to refer to you guys now. And thanks, McCann, for saying this is awesome. If anyone wants to send through any questions or whatever, absolutely just go for it. We'll be on here for like maybe another 30 seconds before we log off the live stream. This live stream will also be available on the same link. Should just take you to the video once it's done anyway. It was just me and Dahlia indulging in chicken nugs.
Yeah. Still lots to go. I
still do have lots of
chippies, so that's why.
Jesus.
Look, guys, I'd like to say I could sit here for hours to talk to you, but I'm brutally honest. And in 10 minutes' time, my AFL team, the Adelaide Crows, are live on TV.
Yeah, you got enough jerseys there behind you, mate?
Yeah, just a few jerseys. For those of you who can't see, Hugo's got what, 3 or 4? Oh, wait. 4 or 5 Adelaide Crows jerseys behind him. We won't hold him to that. Although I'm a Crows supporter.
Willy, mate, as much as I love you, you will probably learn in this relationship as we go on that Adelaide Crows will always take priority over you. Sorry, mate.
Mate, I'm a Crows supporter to a degree.
Okay, well,
but I live in Adelaide. I've either got the Crows or Port Adelaide to support, and I'm not going to go for
one
Port.
or the other, mate. Come on, you choose one. You don't. It's one of those big rivalries.
Nah, not Adelaide. I'm bridging the gap. I'm like, fuck it. We're going for it. We're going for everyone.
Dave and I like to play this game because I know nothing about sports, whereas he'll repeat what a commentator said, pause it, and then ask me to decipher what it means. So if anyone's interested in that, I often live tweet me watching live sports. I feel like maybe I'm the only other person in Australia using Twitter, but
no, I use Twitter. I just don't know how the fuck to do it. So I have no idea. If anyone goes to my Twitter, it's just full of shit that I have no idea how to use. I'm just like, oh, I'll reshare this. I'm going to reshare all this random piss. Like, oh my God.
Resharing the same.
Yeah, so I have no idea.
I'll teach you to Twitter.
Nah, the best thing is your live cooking show on Instagram.
I do.
That is the best thing in the world. Hugo, Dahlia's live. Oh my God. Mate, I have wasted so many hours of my life watching all of your Instagram things, pissing myself. Like I've been sitting on the couch and like muted the TV and just been watching like 4 hours of your and then I stirred this and then I forgot this. So I had to run to the shops and get all the other shit. I'm like, what the why am I watching? It's like a reality show. I'm like, oh yes, she's put up more stories, and I'm going through it. And you just pissing off your partner. I'm just like, oh my God.
Definitely Dave's the kind of person that doesn't like to laugh at my jokes. He'll just say, "Yeah, that's funny." So a lot of it has to come from me.
Can we do a live stream or a live YouTube channel where it's basically Dahlia in the kitchen. Many failed attempts at cooking a cake.
For sure. My I've been asked to be a godparent, but our friends are also not very religious either. So they've dubbed me the donut dealer. That's my official title. And she turns 1 soon-ish. Not really. It's actually quite a while away. But she turns 1 in maybe 5 months. And so me and her mother are in the process of creating this like ultimate spot the dog cake. So that'll be up at some point when we start to get the trialing process going, because we want to make this decadent cake. So coming to a Instagram highlight near you.
Yeah, Hugo, we better let you go.
I'm seriously not joking. I've got 8 minutes, but
the cans quickly.
Your lovely mum Vicky did send in another question then actually, but she said this is why your podcasts are so important, helping all of us talk about the hard stuff. So thanks again, Vicky, if you're listening to this.
Thank you, Vicky.
Yeah.
And go the Mighty Crows, and I'll see you guys later.
Go the Crows. Okay, see you later. You go.
Calm the Crows.
Right, now that we've got rid of Hugo, Dahlia, is there anything before we go offline that you want to talk about? Like,
I'm trying to think.
Like you can be absolutely whatever. We're just chilling out here drinking whiskey at the moment. Like,
I think I just want to be able to like spread more awareness about people with ileostomy bags. Yeah. I think that it's something that not very many people know about at all. And it's really uncommon for it to be, well, not uncommon, but, you know, for example, I haven't found anybody else in their 20s with one.
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess, I don't know, it's just so awkward. People don't like talking about poo. I find it really,
Except for Mickey and pee poo poo man. That's that's actually about you.
It's just me.
He's good.
He's good. I just feel like people need to be discussing their own health and their sort of issues that they have with people that obviously that they trust. Yeah. I think too many people are just like petrified to talk about poos. You would stand up from a table and say, "Oh, I'm just going to quickly go do a pee.
Going to go take a dump."
Yeah, nah, because if you say that, people are offended.
Yeah, imagine that.
You could stand up from a table and say, "I need to go pee," or "I need to go blow my nose," or "I'm bleeding." But you can't stand up from a table and say, "I need to go take a poo."
Yeah, I know.
And it's I had a lady from the UK. We just did like a quick Skype interview, and she just said like a lot of people are dying of bowel cancer over in the UK because it's inappropriate to talk about poo.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, like everyone's just too uptight. And I guess for me, I just want people to be able to talk about it.
Fucking oath. And you are sort of breaking that cycle on that as well. As well as I was actually singing your praises the other day. I was at the headquarters of a TV studio.
Oh.
And I was actually getting my wardrobe done. And one of the other girls with me knew who the fashion designer wardrobe chick was. And I'm like, "How do you know each other?" She's like, "Oh no, that's her name is Jess. Like that's just she's a famous Instagrammer for empowering women and strong women in the community." And I'm like, "Jess, you need to meet my friend Dahlia and watch my podcast because she's got an ileostomy bag and she's a chick and she's wearing like bikinis and shit with like a bag full of poo and all this shit." And she's like, "What the fuck?" So she's probably stalked you by now because I put her onto your podcast. So she better have stalked us. And Jess, if you're watching this, get in touch. Give Dahlia a share. Get her like DMs, a million followers. Yeah, slide in there.
I don't know. I guess it's just something that people are just so uncomfortable about. And I guess I'm just trying to really break that stigma. Like women do poos, and sometimes they do poos into poo bags. I don't know. I guess it's
actually there was a meme on Facebook, and I'm sorry anyone watching this is going to be a little bit inappropriate. There was a meme on Facebook. You may have actually shared it from like a bowel cancer page that said, "Yes, I've got like an ileostomy bag or a colostomy bag, or it is. But that also means I've got the cleanest asshole in the world."
Oh, that's me.
Did you share that?
No, I didn't.
Because I was trying to find you to tag you, and I couldn't. Well, I thought I might have found you and gone, "Oh no, I can't be tagging you." Like people might be like, "Willy, who the fuck? Like who's this?" But that was hilarious.
I can't wait to do a poo. It's going to be such a great day.
Actually, yeah, because you don't even have that sensation.
No, I don't. Well, sometimes I get it. Right at the beginning, when I was the post-surgery, definitely had like poop urges. But now, haven't farted, haven't done poo in 5.5 months.
Jesus.
It's pretty,
That's something I look forward to in the morning.
Same. Like, I love doing poos. That's the whole thing.
You breaking the stigma of everything.
I was going to say, the reason why I know exactly the first day I had a symptom is because I don't know if I said this on the last podcast.
I think it did. If it's about when you're in the bakery and you came out, you're like, everyone, I just pooed blood, and everyone in the shop's like, we work in a fucking bakery. Okay.
No, I was like, my blood's got poop. It's got my
if your blood has poop in it, then you're really fucked. So you need to go see a
That's
doctor.
the major
right
issue.
then. Yeah.
Don't be too optimistic about that. That won't clear itself up.
Yeah.
So the reasons why I know when all of my symptoms happened and why everything has happened is because I've felt comfortable to talk about it. So I guess it doesn't even necessarily need to be about poo. It might just be about, maybe you're urinating blood, or maybe have some other sort of health issue that you've opted not to talk about. Like, for example, Hugo waited, I'm not really sure how long it was, to tell his dad that he had a lump on his testicles, but I knew that it was something.
I think it was pretty close though.
Yeah?
Actually, maybe I'm wrong.
I feel like he said he was like contemplating it for a while, and then he told his dad, and his dad was like, obviously go get it checked out. So I guess, I guess talk about symptoms that you do have with the people that you trust, and then act on it.
Yeah, 100%. And you got to trust them.
Yeah.
Stuff. Like, I'm passing blood. If you're passing blood out of any orifice, fucking go get checked out. That is not good.
Yeah, but some people just don't.
Yeah, no. It's actually I'm part of a natural healing group. I'm all about using natural remedies, like eating well and doing whatever. But once it sort of goes into the bit of the anti-vax weird sense, I'm like, come on. Like, if it's not going to harm anyone, that's fine. But there's this lady posted and was like, hey, so like 3 years ago, I was passing blood, went and saw a doctor, told me I've got stage 3 bowel cancer. So then I elected for the last few years to treat it myself naturally. I've just started passing a lot more blood. Does anyone have any tips? And I'm like, oh my God.
Get a colonoscopy, sis.
Honey, it's been 3 years. You told you had a high grade cancer in your bowel. I'm not a doctor, but that 3 years probably isn't a good time for it to let it grow. I'm a big fan of natural therapies in conjunction with medical therapies. Same as, you get a lot of people talk about, say, CBD oil, and marijuana and everything. And that is definitely not the be all end all cure, but it's definitely to go in conjunction with your normal treatment can be fantastic. Results with that are fantastic. There's multiple things.
I think it's communication. Communication with your doctor. Find yourself a doctor that you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Find a doctor who you don't care if they have to put their finger in your bum. Yeah, I said it. Like,
or a girlfriend if that's what you're into.
But yeah, I just feel like just making sure that you're comfortable with the healthcare professionals that you're with. And I think that's, again, a huge success of mine is that I trust my surgeons and my doctors and my oncologists and all of my specialists, like, because of the way that they have treated me. And it's, I've had lots of conversations with people overseas about being misdiagnosed over and over again, and they just don't trust their doctors. And so if they don't trust their doctors, then they're looking up everything. And for me, I don't look up anything. Maybe I'm just too vague.
No, don't Google it.
I don't.
It's you'll be like, I'm dying.
I'm not looking at. I know that when I have my ileostomy reversed, that poop's not actually going to be good. It's going to be it's going to be a bad day.
If you Google your symptoms, you'll have testicular cancer.
Yeah, right.
And you'll be like, oh my God, I've got balls. Like,
I shouldn't have noticed. I should have noticed those.
Oh my God. No, it's
I think it's feeling comfortable with your
GP. Well, I shouldn't have said GP. Doctors are there for your own good. Yeah. Like, they're not there to harm you. And that's one thing I've significantly different between your treatment and mine is you tended to get a really smooth ride, which is fucking awesome. 100%. The biggest thing that I struggled with mentally and everything was actually having a fucking rough ride.
The wait time.
Like, wait times, people not knowing. And this isn't doctors. Like, thing is, I found, because I'm dealing with, I was dealing with 2 neurosurgeons, an oncologist, a radiologist, and my GP, and then even the sort of rehabilitation side, medical side of work. And all of them were trying to push their own, I don't want to say agenda, but their own specialty. It was like, oh, I'm a neurosurgeon, let's do this. Or I'm an oncologist, let's do chemo. I'm a radiologist, whatever it is, let's do radiotherapy. And there was no collusion between them. This is the best way. And they were asking me, like, what the fuck do you want to do? And that was fucked. Like, I haven't been to med school for 10 years, like all of you. Why are you putting it on to me? And that's one thing I'm stoked on for you, is you're just like, Yeah, no, it's been easy. I'm like, fuck off.
My gastroenterologist interned for my colorectal surgeon, who was on very good terms with my oncologist, and every 2 weeks, my oncologist and my colorectal surgeon, they meet up with other specialists as well.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure who else is at that table.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm just hanging out.
With you and Billy.
Give her surgery.
And they're sitting down and having a conversation about what would be the best path of treatment for me. So just another checkbox.
Fucking epic.
Yeah.
That's epic.
I feel very comfortable with my oncologist. I can tell him, any symptoms that I'm having or anything like that. It's just been so smooth for me. I just feel so grateful.
I'm stoked for you. I'm stoked it's been like that.
The day I had my colonoscopy is the day I found out I had cancer. And then I met my surgeon 2 hours later.
Jesus, that's epic.
Do you know? I didn't live with the idea that I had a tumor inside me for longer than, it was less than 48 hours.
Yeah, that's good. I've been dealing with that for 14 months.
Right.
No, it's a bit different, but
it's still something that you have to,
It is something I'm like, oh, fuck, I put that in my head.
Yeah.
So off the cancer talk, what are you doing this weekend? Are you off? You're currently on, day 2 of chemo?
3.
Day 3?
Yeah, so I started Wednesday. No, I will be doing nothing. I have a few admin kind of things, and I've just been asked to be the youth ambassador for
Jodie Lee. Yes, I saw that. It came off my Facebook. That's fucking epic.
Yeah, so I'll be working on a few ideas I have there for fundraising. But yeah, I might just try to go for a few walks, but I definitely sort of, like I said, living in these fortnightly intervals, and this is my blackout interval.
It's definitely like that.
Yeah.
So you're round 8.
Yeah, so I've just finished 8.
And they're fortnightly rounds, aren't they?
Fortnightly, yeah, every second Wednesday.
So what's that? You're 2 more months and you're done.
If I don't get sick. That's why I'm wearing a beanie and my Mac pack jacket. Oh, because I was sick last
week. Had Dettol, and you're like, Matt might be dirty. Before he came over, I'm cleaning my hands, and I'm like, oh, I can't get her sick.
Yeah.
Just spraying bloody Glen 20 everywhere.
I just caught a cold last week, which meant I had to cancel everything that I had on.
Oh.
Because I can't, if my white blood cell count isn't high enough or whatever else they're testing me before I start chemo, it'll be delayed.
Fuck.
So last week I also did nothing.
Yeah.
But it's a choice that I made, and I wasn't going to sit around and mope about it and tweet about it and be like, I'm devastated that.
Tweeting about the footy instead.
Exactly.
Live tweet footy.
Yeah. So it's just, you just got to accept it. It's just, you just got to accept what's going on in your life.
What else are you going to do?
No, being enraged by it is just going to, you are what you think.
Yeah, fucking know. Yeah. I love that. It's you see on the camera, you've got these Macca's thing here. McDonald's, if you're watching, will have 15 grand each.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind some Big Macs.
Or just 15 grand worth of Big Macs. Yeah. Actually, to be honest, send me just some Monopoly tickets. I'm fucking fine with that.
The Monopoly of the games.
The Monopoly Macca's is fucking epic.
It's still happening?
I don't know, but I know I put up a photo of I'm good. I don't know about these two. No, we're good, Andrew. Anyway, I remember I put up a photo of Macca's with Monopoly tickets, and I had people messaging me on Instagram going, "Hey man, if you don't play Monopoly, I'll pay the postage if you put them in a letter and send me your Monopoly tickets." And I'm like,
jeepers,
Jesus, go buy some Macca's. A hash brown's $1.
Hash brown is $1, son.
And that is epic. Right, I think this might be the end of us here.
Yeah, I feel like we're just really chatting some shit here now, but that's fine.
Unless anyone wants us to chat shit, maybe we're interesting people.
Maybe.
I'm not. You are. I'm not. You have purple hair and shit. I've got I'm trying to be a Peaky Blinder with my hair, and that's it.
An old lady today, I say old lady, I don't know how old she was, but she came up to me.
Older than you.
She was like, "Oh, you've got the mauve 50-year-old hair." I was like, "I'm sorry?"
Mauve?
Yeah, she's called my purple hair mauve.
Okay.
And she said it's very typical of 50-year-old women to go get this mauve hair color. I was like,
maybe she's calling you a cougar, and that's a good thing.
I don't know what she was implying about. Hello, lady at the hospital that I spoke to. I'm sorry for calling you old.
Yeah, you're not old.
That's right.
Just well.
If she's a part of this live stream, she can't be too old.
No, she can't be. Righto. Well, particularly to any live streamers, thank you. Thank you so much for being involved. We've been on, an hour and 40 minutes.
If anyone has a suggestion of what flavored cake to make
coming
up, please send in a message.
Yes. And actually, what's your new Instagram?
Dahlia.com.au.
Okay, Dahlia.com.au.
At Dahlia.com.au.
For any cake suggestions.
Any
Andrew
cake
goes
suggestions.
back on the mauve 50-year-old. I believe it's the 50-year-old existential crisis lady who is a female activist.
I don't know if she was an activist, but yeah, definitely on those tunes.
I think he might be meaning you, like, if you were to get a 50-year-old activist female would have mauve hair.
Yeah, I feel like that's what the lady was trying to tell me.
Yeah.
So yeah, whatever this
That makes
guy's
sense.
name is. No,
Andrew, yeah.
No, you hit the nail on the head there, mate.
Yeah. And these live streams we're gonna do more of it.
She said, do you know what else? No, more on this mauve lady. She just said
we need more.
Everything becomes mauve, as in like you're getting mauve toenails.
Actually, that's true.
You're wearing mauve earrings. You're wearing a mauve caftan.
A mauve caftan. Please, you're not coming back on the podcast if you are coming in a caftan, unless you give me forewarning and we can both wear caftans and come.
Matching.
Actually, fuck, we should do that. Okay, from now on, if we're doing a podcast without Hugo, you and me are dressing up. So hopefully he doesn't watch this far in. So when he comes on camera, you and me are just in like fucking morph suits.
In our caftans. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I'm definitely.
And they go, oh no,
into mauve
please
life.
don't. Everyone's like, no, don't do.
I feel like Willy would look great in some Camilla caftans. Are you familiar?
No,
with the
no
brand?
idea.
Okay, it's very bedazzled.
Ooh, I need that bedazzling.
Yes.
What do they call it? What's the thing where you like put on your private parts? Bedazzling and
like your vagina.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Yeah, there's like a full kink for it. People get like really has worn some crazy stuff in his career. Actually, if you go back through Andrew my Instagram, there's one of me in like one day in year 12, we stole all the girls' netball dress ups. But what I was saying before, yeah, there's like this full kink.
Bedazzle their
bedazzle, yes. Put in like
bedazzled.
It's like bedazzle for dudes and vajazzle for women.
Vajazzle.
Yeah, I think it is. Correct. So yeah. Andrew's just gone vajazzle, or vajazzy. It is like a legitimate thing. People buy those like little craft kits with like vajazzling.
Adorn the pubic area of a woman with crystals, glitter, and other decoration. Oh, here's a picky.
God. Jesus.
I don't find that particularly appealing.
I don't.
Have you heard of the company called Glitterous?
No, but I know what they do.
Do you?
Well, by the name Glitterous.
No, well
Fill me in.
It's not always vaginas, but they go to music festivals and they'll bedazzle any bit of you.
Jesus.
Literally.
Which festivals are they at?
All of them.
Let's go.
Yeah. Do you want to Glitterous? You're down. I think you're really into it. Imagine, because then you could like glitterize your mustache and
the mustache is going.
Your pubes.
It's like 2 more weeks and the mustache is going.
Why? Oh, is it just a chemo thing?
It's a chemo. Oh, it's not. I normally have a chemo thing. I normally have a mustache, but
I can't find their.
It's not staying for that long. It's the next level ladyscaping, says Andrew. Yeah,
see, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. This could be you.
That could be me. That would look
before you shave your beard. You definitely have to.
Before I shave my mo. Well, have you seen that I've got a photo of Jesus on my wall, up above your head? Jesus. Yeah.
Where?
I've got a photo of Goose off Top Gun.
Oh.
That is that's the only inspiration I need. Actually, when Hugo asked about that, I should have said like, "Hey man, like asked about like inspiration." Sort of, yeah, he's on my wall. Oi, Willy, can you mold your own Willy and then do a mold? Favorite ladies, yes.
For the
There's
ladies.
these kits you can buy.
Yeah, you can definitely do that.
And I don't want to ruin anyone's joke here, but I have a friend who's dying of cancer. Oh, I shouldn't say dying of cancer, who has a very high grade cancer. Anyway, he was talking to his missus about like when he passes and her getting a new partner. And he goes, "That's fine. You can get a new partner when I die. But I am making a mold of my penis first. And when I die, that mold is going up his ass." You can have a new partner.
I did not see that. I did not think that's where.
And that is the terms of the relationship.
It's really strange.
Yeah.
It's a strange thing to say.
It's really strange.
I don't feel like it should be so negative.
When he was telling me, I was kissing myself laughing. Because it was the same as you. I had nothing. I did not know what to expect. He's like, "So I'm going to mold my penis." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah. He's like, "And then I'm going to make a dildo." And that's going up. I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Really
whoa. Like, you have put way too much thought into this,
agree.
man. Like, okay, you do you, bro. like I'm about it, but still. Clone a Willy. That can be my new thing. Instead of Willy's answer, what Andrew says, clone a Willy.
Clone a Willy.
Clone a Willy. That'd be brilliant.
I'm not mad about it.
Righto. We better get you home so you can do more chemo. And then
I've got a big nap to take.
Oh,
I'm probably the only person who's like looking forward to daylight savings
yeah.
because it gets dark sooner. I can just really get those.
I
naps in.
like daylight savings. I like dark more than light.
Same.
Like, and I think it's from being a drinker. Like obviously everyone knows I'm a drinker. Is like I like to be able to drink when it's dark, but still be home by like 11.
Yeah, I feel you.
Instead of like you starting like you're like, oh, it'll get dark soon. You start drinks at 5 and it's 9:30 and the sun's still up and you're like, I'm fucked. This is gonna be I'm gonna be out till 4.
I've still got 4 more hours of daylight.
4 more hours until I can go home. Like until I can go. I'm going to the bathroom and
Have you
fucking
been
sneak
drinking
away.
much during chemo? Would you apologise in that state?
The word said in moderation. Whatever that fucking means.
How
So
often do you drink?
pretty much 1 or 2 times around. So I do a Monday to Friday. I'm around of chemo for a month. So I do Monday to Friday and then like 5 days. And then I have
In
the
hospital.
next full 3 weeks off.
Yeah.
So I don't drink the week after. And
Yeah.
then I drink that next, so 2 weekends past, I drink that one. So I'm 2 weeks off the drugs, 1 week before starting that weekend.
How much do you drink?
Well, the thing is I'm fatigued as fuck.
Yeah.
So it seems like I get tired before I get
Yeah, I
shit-faced.
don't know how you. Yeah.
So I'm drinking. I'm like, fuck, I'm tired as shit. And then just go on. So I haven't had a night past like 3 a.m. for a while, except for last Saturday. I got a bit dusty and I'm still feeling it. Like it ruined me.
Yeah.
But what about you? Do you drink much?
Nah.
No.
Not
But-
in general. Me and Davo are pretty. He barely drinks at all, to be honest. He used to be a real craft beer
Yeah.
guy, but he's just like faded out of it. He just doesn't really care about drinking. And I'm kind of the same. Like, I'll have a pre-diagnosis. I'd go out and have
I ran
a bunch of drinks
I ran
and
a
have
party
full-
called Willy's Death Party before I started chemo, and it was massive.
Yeah, jeepers.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'll go out and drink, but I don't drink during the week or like this is the most casually I would drink. I would bet
Yeah.
like this would be. I reckon this is the first drink of spirits I've had in 5.5 months. I've only
Yes.
just restricted myself to
I'm so proud.
a beer or a vino.
Oh, I drink a shitload less than I used to. Like I used to drink Friday, Saturday nights religiously.
Yeah.
And then and then at one point we discovered that like groundbreaking that Thursday night in Adelaide's uni night.
Yes,
I
projects.
did not know, but I'm like 19, 20 here at the time.
Yeah.
So we started going out Thursdays.
Yeah.
But then that meant Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
I'm
And then
like a Thursday, Saturday type of gal.
we discovered Sundays at the Moseley.
Boo.
Yeah, no, boo. Brilliant.
Boo.
So then it started going like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then I was like, boys, like, yeah, well, so there's 7 days in a week and we're drunk 4 nights of that. So we're actually drunk more than we're sober.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh no, we need to just do Saturdays. Hey.
I don't know. I guess I'm really taken aback by the normality of people drinking and how often people drink and how awkward people feel like if you
if you
know,
don't
you
drink,
if you don't drink, like it's
I'm a bit
more,
like
I
that.
don't like how
Yeah.
how easily
Black
and it's
footsies
more-
with
and
your
it's-
hit, yeah.
it's
Ooh.
obviously way more not obviously, but I've found that it seems way more prominent with men, just like that you're somehow
But drink your fucking pussy.
yeah, I hate that.
Yeah,
it
that-
makes me
I
quite
do.
mad.
See, I've always felt uncomfortable because I would say I'm a drinker. The problem is a lot of people don't like the taste. I fucking love rum. Like, and a lot of people are like, oh no, I like Kraken or something is like the best thing in the world. I
Right.
fucking love it. So I love the taste of alcohol. What's the problem? And then I love the social aspect of drinking. But then that sort of goes hand in hand. And then I sort of found when I was like, I'm going out and not drinking, I was like, well, I'm not having a fucking good time. This sucks.
Really?
Because everyone's getting drunk around me. Like, but I never have felt pressure from my friends to drink. But then I surround myself with good people too.
Are you
Like-
pressuring them to drink when you're drinking there?
No, I'm pressuring them
Just
to drink
checking.
if I'm not drinking. Because like if I'm drinking, it's like we're all getting drunk. But I know that can go back on me because they're like, if I'm like, let's have shots, I'm a shit drinker. Like I'm a fucking lightweight. If I go, let's get shots, they might be like, yeah, and then I'll be like, no, like I started this. I don't want to start a revolution I can't end. But if I'm sober and I'm driving, I'm like, you gotta get shots because I'm like, the drunker I get them, the sooner we may go home.
fucking ghosted out.
So I'm like, no, but I'm like, I might get them all shit-faced by 10. And they're like, oh, look, I have to get you guys kicked out and then I'm desoing you home.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to it's just so normalized. Alcoholism and drinking to excess is so normalized, and it's
yeah,
and it's
it is incredibly normalized,
and it's like
it's
encouraged.
It's encouraged and celebrated.
Something bad happens,
yeah,
I need a drink. Something good happens, I need a drink.
Yeah.
I've achieved something, I need a drink. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It definitely goes hand in hand with celebrations, doesn't it? Like I'm getting married, let's have a drink.
It's just attached to
and
everything.
Australians find if you find anything, it's like Australia Day, we're getting drunk. Like Triple J Hottest 100, there's always drinking games. Like this, I'm like, what? Like, I'm not sure. I haven't lived long enough in another country to know, but I know we are definitely very, very big on drinking. Like
to excess.
We have awesome weather though too.
I think the weather probably helps as well, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I try to just.
I had a lady the other day message me a discount code for all this wine. And it was her father. I think I don't misquote here, but I think it was her father had a brain tumor. And he was like it was like a glioblastoma stage 4, like 2 months to live. And he was like, fuck it. I love McGuigan's red wine.
Yeah.
And he's like, fuck it. I love it. It's not going to do any shit to me. I'm just going to fucking binge drink like a bottle a night. It's like 6 years later and he's still around. I'm not saying McGuigan's cures cancer, but this guy was like on his deathbed. And
not curing cancer.
There was a story I was reading. This is ages back about this dude who wanted to kill himself. Like, yep, I'm going to kill myself. But before I go, I'm going to go to, where do they go on the In-Betweeners on the movie? That island.
Oh, they go.
It's not Mykonos, but it's like that.
Number 2?
Nah, number 1. If anyone knows what the island's called, it's like it's I think it's off the coast of Spain. It's like it's known for partying.
Is it the first? You said it's the first one.
I think it is. Crete. Oh, fuck, that's wrong. Okay, I'm thinking wrong then. Well, somewhere like that. So it was like a party island. And he's like, I'm going to kill myself, but before I go, I'm going to go to this island. And he went and just got like drunk and did like every substance possible. And now he lives there as like a DJ. And I'm like, fair call, man. Like, you do you, bro. Like, sorry, Andrew's right. Ibiza. It's in Ibiza, yes.
I think I just find it frustrating that there are people in this world that opt to, for example, they'll smoke cannabis. Like, but then, because it's an illegal substance and people are just like, oh, you're a pothead, like, smoke marijuana, you're just, it's got this negative connotation towards it. But, like, the most harmful thing someone smoking marijuana is going to do is, like, eat snacks and giggle, whereas, like, alcoholism can really lead you down quite a negative path. Like, I think I feel like I've had way more emotional experiences or whatever. Like when you're drinking, like people get aggressive. Like
drinking. There are definitely big problems that come with drinking.
It just frustrates me.
I like to think I'm a good drinker. Like I'm good at it. Like I've never got aggressive drinking.
Sassy or angry.
Oh, I'm sassy usually. That's just me generally. Like I'm sassy as fuck. Like I should be on Queer Eye. That's how sassy I am. No, I know people who, there are people I don't drink with who I'm mates with normally as soon as I get drunk.
Yeah.
Because you know what it is? My thing is single dudes who can't, they're like, I'm going to go pick up. And they can't pick up. So they're like, fuck it, I'm going to have a fight.
I'm going to have a fight. I'm going to get drunk.
If I'm not going to have a root, I'm going to have a fight. And I'm like, what the fuck? Go out and have fun.
People say that to you? Or you're just.
No, that's literally like the guys I know who go for, like, I have mates who are like, yeah, let's get in a fight. I'm like, what? Why would we get in a fight tonight? Like, what?
Are you kidding?
No, 100%.
Whoever's Willy's friends that are doing this, don't do that.
Yeah, well, I don't go drinking with them anymore. But it's like, what the fuck? Why? I don't want to get in a fight. Like,
yeah.
I remember the only real fight I've ever been in on Hindley Street.
Tell me about
was me and a couple of mates who were walking down Hindley Street, and there's like alleyways that go off it. We looked down one, and there was like 3 or 4 dudes stomping this guy on the ground, and we're like, oh fuck, we'll run down, like, help, like this dude's getting stomped, like I don't care what he's done, he's gonna get killed.
Yeah.
Anyway, ends up we like pull the dudes off. Next thing, as we pull the guys off, they're all like crackheads and they're all mates. The dude who was getting stomped stands up and punches me in the face. I'm like,
Willy's first fight.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Tries to save the victim, gets punched in the face.
And like we ended up just getting, like, it was like me and 2 dudes. We got fucking rolled. Like ended up in hospital and shit.
Did what?
Yeah. by all these like crackheads. And it was just like, what if the cops rocked up? Like, yeah, we know exactly who they are too. Like, give us a script. And the cops knew, like, they're like, oh, this is them. And it was just like, you have to be fucking kidding me. Like, I've helped you and you've punched me in the I've never felt so annoyed. I'm like, I pulled a guy off stomping your head and now I've got punched.
Yeah, that sucks. Sorry about that, Willy.
I think I was a little bit slow reaction at the time because I had my hands up and his hand just went between them. Just went between them and just hit me.
You through your arms.
But I had like a slow reaction, like hit me and I'm like, ow.
My farts.
Like, why is the rum always gone? Andrew, my thing is when single guys get drunk and trying to crack onto married or taken ladies.
Yeah, I love that.
Good
I love it when that happens.
On you, lads.
I feel so awkward. I'm just like, I'm married. Like, you're too young to be married.
You're too beautiful, baby.
Yeah, you're so good.
What does your husband look like?
Where is he? That's the whole thing. Like,
I've got a gold chain and a H&M shirt. You should totally be with me. Like, that's like every dude I know.
Do you see my Nana Judy t-shirt right now? I don't know, because like Dave doesn't like to party, so I go out with
I'm
my
Dave
friends.
and I like to party.
He doesn't like to party. He's Dave and he doesn't like to party. Or he likes to party like less than I do, let's just say. So I often go out by myself and I'm often sort of approached by guys being like, oh yeah, I can buy you a drink, or can I like, or like, I actually have really curly hair. My hair is quite straight. Yeah.
Send photos.
I've got like an afro.
Fuck
and so men and women will always come up to me and just be like, oh my God. And they just stick their fingers in my hair. And I'm just like, I don't know where the fuck your hands have been. But yeah, and they're just like, I'll be like, oh, I'm married. Oh, where's your husband? If he's not here with you, then he must be a pretty shit bloke. No, we just have a very trusting relationship, son.
Jesus.
Walk it off.
Son. If a girl called me son, I would like if I
Why
tried,
a girl? What about if a guy called you
if,
son?
If I tried to pick you up, no, because I wouldn't be trying to pick up other guys. That's epic. Your hair's sick.
Yeah. It's just I've got it straight at the moment just because it's easier to maintain while I'm going through the Keems.
God, if a girl's called me son, holy shit.
It's huge.
You got like McGorang for hair.
I do.
If anyone, oh wait, I don't know if it might not focus.
Closer.
Oh, damn it. No, I can't go close up. I don't have big enough arms. If I was trying to pick up and a girl was like, settle down, son, I would, that'd be my confidence.
Well, I think a lot of the time is because heaps of younger guys hit on me because I look about 12 anyways.
Getting kicked out of places? Like,
I got carded.
Carded?
Like,
fuck is that?
Like I did.
Oh, sorry, I'm not up with the hip lingo of you.
You're younger than me.
You 26-year-olds, son. Okay, mother bear.
I got ID'd to go see Hot Tub Time Machine.
Really?
And I'd already
Everyone
bought
there
the
was
ticket.
16.
I'd
anyway.
already bought the ticket, and I was going through the like stub person, and they said,
"That's his job, bro."
Yeah, Mr. Stub,
I'm
and he
stubby.
was like, "Can I see your ID?" I said, "Is this movie R?" And they're like, "Nah, it's MA." I was like, "I'm 20 years old. You actually think I look 14?"
Yes.
Yes, that's exactly what he said. And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Daughter.
Yeah,
Doesn't have
hold
the
my
same ring, does it?
popcorn for me here.
Jesus.
Yeah,
That's fucked.
that's fine.
Where do you go out?
Where do I go out? Well, I haven't been out currently.
No. When you're off chemo, we'll go
When
out.
I'm off chemo, yeah. Where are we gonna go? Go to?
Well, you've already shattered my dreams of the Mosley.
I don't.
I'm
like
a big
it.
Mose fan.
Why?
I
Do you
don't
just
know.
want to listen to like 369? Like you just want to listen to?
I want to listen to
the same
369.
song?
I want like 369, Big Shack, and then that
What
Eminem
else?
song that's
Return
on.
of the Mac, Single Ladies, fucking
You know, I have a life
N
rule.
words in paradise.
N-words in paradise.
N words in
Paris.
paradise. Paradise.
Both, one of them.
You know, and I don't want to be because no.
Everyone there is 16 at best.
You're right.
I don't know.
It's just sweaty. There's no ventilation.
The worst place I've ever been in my life is, you know, the Palais, just down in Semaphore, on a Friday night.
Mm.
Oh my God. Like,
It's who you're with.
It is. No.
You know what? I
It
say
is-
I'm ragging on the Mosley, but it's who you're with.
It was the biggest Cougar Central thing.
Cougar Fest. Surely they're attacking you
Nah,
doing these ones.
because I look too old. I look 30. If I shaved, maybe they'd be like, he's young prey. I look like their husband.
It's because you're wearing too nice of clothes, Willy. You
No,
dress
that's
too
not it.
nicely. You need to dress more bogan.
Oh, you know, I've
You're
actually
too
been turned
beautiful.
down. I got turned down by a girl ages back. She's like, sorry, I think you're a bit old for me. I'm like, oh, how old are you? She's like, I'm 25. I'm like,
You're younger than me, bitch.
fuck. Like,
Older than
okay,
me.
well, that's my confidence ruined again. Like, I went out with this is ages back. No, you haven't met my mate Ryan, but we all went out and we're like, ask these girls, like, no, you haven't met my Ryan. Like, how old do you think we are? And these girls like, oh, you're like, and she guessed like he's 27, and the other guy, I think you're like 28. You and points at me and goes, you're like 33, and I'm like, I was like 21 at the time, and I'm like, thanks, honey. Like, you've just ruined everything about my life.
That sucks.
Nah, I don't care.
Yeah,
maybe when I'm 30, I'll look 18.
I've literally been told by two separate instances within the last year that I look 12.
I say that.
And you know, like Dave and I had like hell giggles about it, and then I was like, you can giggle all you want, mate, but everyone thinks that you're like, if they think I'm 12 and we're married,
that means
what are they thinking about you?
Do you work for the church, Benny? Are you a cardinal in Adelaide? You know, sensitive topic.
Like,
All my followers just like,
talk about it though. Let's all talk about it. So we'll have this communication.
Yeah, fucking communication. There's nothing wrong. The more you talk about it, even if you're an asshole, you're still good.
You're still really
if you
good.
talk about it, that's the beauty of freedom of speech.
Yeah, I think it's just
It's legally being a prick. Nah, like it's good though. You can't. Yeah, nah, 100%. Shutting it out is the worst thing to do.
Mhm.
If you shut it out, you act like it doesn't exist, and therefore these pricks don't get what's the word, like prosecuted. Exactly. No one talks about.
Exactly.
It's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Man, I hate that shit.
Anyone else chatting? What are these little
shit? What are your favorite songs, artists at the moment by Mac? Oh my god, sorry, Mac, you've had a heap, but I've just been paying you off here. Looking younger is a problem. Teenagers stare at your role in your own age group. Oh yeah, your own age group look over you. What are your favorite songs or artists at the moment?
I listen to a lot of hip hop. But I've been
369.
Yeah, I'm not even saying the start of the name.
like American hip hop, like gangster or Australian.
But both.
Well, you're an Adelaide girl, so Hilltop Hoods must be up there.
I don't listen to a lot of Australian hip hop, but I do
really?
like Hilltop Hoods live.
Have you seen them live?
Yeah,
so good.
First time I saw them live, I was in Calgary, so I wasn't even in Australia. So that was really cool.
That is.
And I was like, I'm from Adelaide.
Like we don't give a fuck.
And then I just sort of listen to different, music producers. I don't even know what genre of music that I'm listening to.
I don't have a genre. Hey?
I meant to ask Dave because I ask him everything.
Dave, explain my life to me.
Yeah, basically, he knows me way better than I know
I've got
me.
no idea.
No, it's not even a joke.
Dave, sometimes I'm fearful that I'm actually that stupid.
My friend Rob. No, do you know what the thing is?
I need to start messaging Dave shit, just random shit. Like,
100%.
hey, bro, which way do I put the toilet roll on? Does it go over or under, Dave?
His memory is out of control.
Everything.
The other day, we were hanging out with our friend Robbie, who is from the UK.
Yeah.
And he just goes to me, Dahlia, you just asked Dave that many questions. he's just like, Dave, like he was imitating me. He's like, Dave, why did I wear these shoes today? Why am I sitting like this? Why is my phone over there? But I guess it's just because his memory is so good. So if we go out for a meal or we have a conversation with a person or whatever, his recollection of that interaction will be in 4K. And I'm just like buffering. Like,
that's like my constant state of mind. Is that little like ring of death?
Yeah.
Buffer? That's me.
Yeah.
Just like if you ask me something, I'm like,
what was that person's name?
Nothing's actually happening. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for someone else to answer.
Who said this? I'll ask him the same question 3 times in a row. Look, that might be, Hugo was talking about like, what habits do you want to break? That is one. Being more attentive when Dave's around, because I almost switch off on purpose.
Yeah, I'm like that too.
We were talking about music before. But yeah, again, I guess that kind of transfers over into music. I'd be like, who is this? Who's this artist? When was their first album? I don't know. Rely on Dave a lot. What's your music type?
Oh, fucking everything.
Yeah.
Well, like Andrew just said bunch of Bring Me the Horizon. That's Bring Me the Horizon is really good. They're like a heavy metal band. But I listen to like everything. Like it doesn't like I listen to a lot of rap, but a lot of like old school rap too.
Yeah.
Like recently I've been every day like fucking Ice Cube.
Yeah.
So I'm frothing it. I'm the whitest dude in the world. Like
That's allowed.
Yeah, but I'm like that white dude who's like,
but
I'm like censoring myself. Like his songs have a lot of very race related words in them.
Well,
and I'm in the car like, the worst thing,
don't say it.
The worst thing
Just
is
don't
if
say
I've
it.
got a window down in the car and I'm singing along and people looking across like, who the fuck is this?
You can just replace the N word with hitter.
Hitter.
Hitter. That's fine.
Sounds something Japanese.
I'm looking at my recently. I really, a bit of J. Cole.
Oh, actually,
got
that's a good idea.
Ariana. I
Are
don't
you on
mind.
Spotify?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tourist.
Ariana, which one?
Or just whatever's going.
Oh, Ariana's new song.
I did listen. Thank you.
What's that new one where it's like
very new.
The one about breaking up with your boyfriend on board.
Thank you. Next.
No, it's not that.
Another
it's
one.
Like
new one.
Break up with your boyfriend on board. You're gonna hit it in the morning.
Oh Jesus.
It is. I'm like, you are so sassy. Like it's like I'm telling this girl. Boy, no, break up with your girlfriend on board. Yeah.
I don't know what this song is. I'm obviously not down with the latest.
You're down with the lingo of us. Sorry, I'm so much younger than you. So mine is my top song at the moment is called Still Brazy by YG.
Yes.
How good is that?
I love YG so much, and I don't know anybody else that listens to YG, and I can't believe it's you that does.
That's me. Yeah.
Well, that's super gangster. You just have to say hitter. Like
hooks on
You're just gonna have to say hitter like a
hitter,
1,000 times.
And then it just goes, well, you know, the next song. So my first song is Still Brazy, and my next song is Tiny Dancer by Elton John. So imagine that. Imagine I'm driving along and I'm getting a bit gangster with Still Brazy, and it goes to Elton John.
Yeah, that happens to me.
Yeah. The Elton John movie's
Marvin
coming out
Gaye
soon, and that will be the best fucking thing ever.
Are you on Spotify? Are you on?
I was, yeah.
Where do you look up? How do you look up your most?
I was just going through in songs, like my top
songs.
ones, like the most recently saved, yeah.
Yeah, what else have I got? Yeah, Odd Future, Chance the Rapper I really love.
Yeah, nice.
And then, like, because I did my emo phase, I've just been listening to a lot of Day to Remember and all my
Ali just says, wait, is this an old interview? Just play? No, we're here. We're still here, Ali.
Right now.
Like, we still exist. Why do you look like what? Why do you look like Gus?
I look like Gus.
Yeah, I'm Gus.
Who's Gus?
Who's Gus? Send a photo of Gus if you can. I don't know if you can on this. Yes, you 100% need to be in Queer Eye. I want to be on. Do you watch Queer Eye?
I've watched one episode.
It is brilliant. Like I follow them all on Instagram, all this shit.
What do you like about it?
I don't know. I think the dudes they've picked, like their personalities are fucking epic. Like I know no one like that. Like their main dude, or one of the main dudes, Jonathan, has like long hair, big mustache. He's so out there. Like he's training to be like a 30-year-old male ice figure skater, and he's like following his journey on Instagram from like shit on skates to like getting up some twirls, and it is epic.
You're there for the outfits. Let's be real.
Yeah, but actually, Tan. I know what the name is. Tan is the fashion guy.
Yeah,
I could take over Tan.
You reckon?
I don't like Tan's fashion. Sorry,
Don't you?
Tan. I'm sorry, Tan.
He's saying tan or tam?
Tan. T-A. Oh, fuck.
Don't ruin
Someone
it.
Is it Tan France? It's. I think it is Tan. I think it's Tan France. I'm gonna say it's probably not his actual name.
It's this guy. It's the salt and pepper guy.
Salt and pepper.
Oh, I just salt and pepper hair.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But like if you go through his Instagram, I actually don't really like his fashion sense. Like
I like it. I like dressing. I like buying things and I like wearing things.
Yeah, I'm the same, but I just don't think other guys
people
would wear
don't wear it. No, that's what I'm saying. I would rather like.
Yeah, but you can get away with it. I'm not cool enough to.
Yeah, I've seen your wardrobe.
Yeah, but
you don't like
that
this?
much that out there. I couldn't wear those shoes.
They're white shoes, mate.
I like that. I like the jacket.
How is the shoes?
Because the shoes matter to me. That is the most important part.
That's
where an outfit starts, Dahlia, is your shoes.
And your issue is plain white sneakers.
I have more issues than that. He looks like the guy to the Back to the Future, like one. He needs a DeLorean. And I do like his blazer though. It's like
Look at that shirt. It's lovely.
But I'm not going to wear that.
Well, you're not in Salt and Pepper Fox.
If you saw me in that shirt in a club, you would be calling me son.
Would I? Nah.
If someone just goes, the bedazzler will come in handy. That's why you have a fashion sense.
Yeah. Would you wear that?
Most sincere ever, they're white shoes, mate. Oh, send.
You can wear that jacket.
I would wear that jacket. Are they suede boots, you reckon, or leather? Or like suede or like
Does that a huge difference for you?
I can't wear suede shoes.
Yeah, obviously, because you get them dirty.
Because I'm a drinker. Ever spilled a Red Bull vodka on suede shoes? They disintegrate.
I just got
It is like Chernobyl.
shoes made from pony hair.
Pony hair.
Yeah.
Sorry, any vegans on the show?
Very anti-vegan, these shoes.
I have a crocodile outfit. So wait, what type of shoe are they? Like a heel or like a boot?
They're
or?
boots. They're pink and they're
Yes.
they are also
I wish we
glittery.
could put photos up on this stream.
Yeah,
I'm sorry
same.
that we can't. My knowledge of this is so little. So the next Q&A needs to do a fashion show. Maybe the next Q&A we can do like in my room and be like, these are all my. I'll just get like naked and get changed. What about that?
I'll stay in this room.
Do you stay in here? We'll just have a camera with like a blur.
I'm trying to find you a picky of these boots. They're great.
Yeah.
Shout out to Molly. She bought me the boots for my birthday.
Shout out, thank you,
like,
Molly.
Very ahead of time. I literally
Molly,
was
you're just gonna have to watch 2 hours and 10 minutes before you get to this.
She would.
Sorry, honey.
Though. She would though.
Yeah,
Here they are. Look, and they're like metallic too. Look at
I'll be
these.
on room tour.
I feel like you could wear those.
Oh, I would wear them.
Aren't they so cute?
That's pony hair.
It's pony hair. It was really difficult to find a fabric protector, but I went to
Yeah, I was
one
gonna say.
what's the shoe place next to La Boheme across from Coles in the city?
Raboham.
La
No
Boheme.
idea what that is.
Oh, so it's just this cute little bar. They've got like lots of cocktails, and
Jesus.
our friend does improv shows there. So that's
What? Have you been to Monday night at the Grace Emily?
not
When you are
recently.
off chemo,
Mm.
you and me are going.
Is it quiz night?
It's open mic night.
Ah,
What is incredibly dangerous when you get super drunk, and it's the weirdest crowd of people in the world because it's like all shift workers. So last
Right.
time I was there, I was at this big table with all my mates, and on one side we had all these cops, the other side we had all these strippers, and I was like, "This is epic. Like this is the best like mix of
All
people
right.
ever."
As soon as I'm off the Keems,
off the Keems.
we can get to it. Andrew's got more questions.
Oh, Andrew just says hit him up offline. Just set up good streaming.
Oh, thanks. We need your help.
We do need your help.
Clearly,
We're brilliant. Look at our face.
look at this.
We
Look
have-
at this professionalism right here.
It's actually just because it fell like one of the sticky things fell,
Oh, is it supposed to be this way?
So
or-
it's sort of-
I don't
it's
wanna ruin this
supposed to be,
canvas.
like,
Why have
flat.
you attached it to the canvas?
but it's no, it hasn't. It's on like a sticky thing. Someone has like 3M sticky things. Mum and Dad are probably watching this. Like you've pulled down a bit of paint, but yeah.
This room is green.
Next
I just
thing-
noticed.
Wow.
The walls are green. All right.
Yeah.
Oh God.
What?
Fucking.
No. What have you done? We've had a colostomy problem.
Yes, I have to go toilet. Right now.
Okay. Well, we're gonna end the stream anyway. Thank you, everyone.
Live. Oh
We
my
have-
God.
It is live.
I'm escaping.
You're escaping.
Escaping.
Okay.
This is tragic.
Well, at least this is, we market this as real and raw. And sorry.
This is my first.
Oh, you just push that over. Oh my God. You can move anything you want. Okay. Thank you, everybody. We really do appreciate it. Okay. See ya.